Welcome, pirates. Well, if you are here, I am sure that you must have heard about bug bounty or something like web pen testing out there. And you must have heard that companies are paying bug bounty hunters millions of dollars to hack their websites. Now, let's move to the next slide. And here we have a question. Have you ever wondered? So, wondered about what? Wondered about why Google, Facebook, Nvidia and SpaceX like companies are paying random people to hack their websites, hack their products, and paying thousands and millions of dollars. That is because of their bug bounty programs, and that is where hundreds of cybersecurity experts, hundreds of bug bounty hunters perform web pen testing and they take monetary rewards. Now you might have know about these things, and here in this course I am going to teach you exactly what you need to be a web pen tester or a bug bounty hunter, and by the end of this lecture you will be one of those who will be reporting bugs in those companies' bug bounty programs and earning in thousands of dollars. So let's begin with the course outline. And also, I'm going to give you a hands-on experience with a virtual lab setup. And what I'm going exactly to do in that virtual lab setup is I'm going to establish a target machine and attacker machine that will be completely on our own operating system, and we are not going to harm anyone, we are not going to perform any illegal thing. That is completely legal what we are going to do, and a complete safe environment, and on vulnerable websites that are especially designed to perform these attacks and test these vulnerabilities and attack to sharpen our skills of bug bounty and web pen testing. So let's begin and see what is our course outline and what we have to cover in this. So here we have few sections, and I'm going to say that this course might be around 3.5 to 4 hours, and in this whole duration I'm going to cover each and everything I'm going to tell you right now in very detailed manner and in a very extensive manner that you are going to understand each and everything completely, and by the end of this lecture you will be mastered. So let's begin with the first section, that is introduction, and this is what I'm currently doing. I'm giving you introduction about this course. Next up we have virtual lab setup. Now what I'm going to do here is something interesting. We are going to set up our virtual home lab. Here we are going to do two things. First up, we will set up our attacker machine, and second up, we are going to deploy our target machine on our host operating system. And with the help of these two things, we are going to perform each and every attack and exploit every vulnerability we find on these vulnerable websites. Second up, we are going to do web enumeration and information gathering. Now this part is very important, and if I'm saying very important, that means without this we are not going to do anything. If we haven't done a proper enumeration of our target, that means we cannot do anything about anything. And it is what it is. Because if you don't know anything about your target, how you are going to even exploit anything? Next up, we have introduction to Bubshoot section. In this section, what we are going to do, we are going to use a tool that is Bubshoot. Now, what this tool does is, let me give you a short introduction. This tool intercepts the web request and we can modify it and test multiple inputs. And this is the most important tool in bug bounty. Without this tool, you cannot do anything. Next up, we have HTML injection. We are going to look for HTML injection in the websites. If there is any HTML injection present, we are going to test it out and see what happens and how we can exploit it. Next up, we have command injection, and command injection we test if a particular website or web server has command injection vulnerability or not. And in the command injection vulnerability, what we do is we perform OS level commands and see if they are working or not. And if they are working, that means we can gather any information present on that server. Next up, if we move ahead, we have broken authentication. In this broken authentication, we are going to look for sessions. Now, what are sessions and what are cookies? We are going to learn about in further lectures, but let me tell you, if you know a session ID or a session cookie, you can just simply access anyone's account. Next up, we have brute force attack. You must have heard about what is brute force attack, and this is what we are going to perform with burp suit and using a tool named as Hydra. So in the brute force, we are going to look for the login credentials and many more inputs that we can manipulate. Next up, we have broken access control, in which we are going to see if there is any broken access vulnerability that is left by the developer himself. So if there is, we can exploit that. Then we have XSS, that is cross-site scripting attack. If that is present, we are going to exploit that also. Second last, we have SQL injection. Now SQL injection is one of the most critical vulnerabilities, because if they have SQL injection, what they can do is they can dump the whole database. And who are they? They are none but we attackers, we bug bounty hunters. And if a website has SQL injection vulnerabilities, we can dump whole database, and this is a very critical vulnerability, and we are going to exploit that as well in a website where SQL injection is present. Next up, we have XPath, that is XML path vulnerability, and we are going to exploit that as well. And this is it for our course outline. Next up, we are going to establish our target machine and our attacker machine. Now let's set up our virtual home lab. Now what you have to do here is just come to your browser and type VirtualBox on your URL section. And here, after searching for VirtualBox, click on Oracle VirtualBox website, and here you will see the download button right here. Click on that, and once you will click that, you will be prompted with this web page where you will have several options like Windows host, Mac OS, and Linux distribution. We are not going to anywhere, we are going with Windows host. So just click with Windows host, and after you will click to Windows host, your VirtualBox for Windows will start downloading. And once it will be downloaded, what you have to do is just wait, and you will have to set up it. But we will set up it later. First we will download our Kali Linux operating system. Now to download Kali Linux operating system, what you have to do is just open your browser once again and head to the website of kali.org. And in the website kali.org, just go to the pre-built VM section, and here just download the second option, that is for VirtualBox. So if you will click on the VirtualBox option, your Kali Linux operating system for VirtualBox will start downloading, and you will see a zip file like that. Now if you will open that zip file, what you have to do here is you have to just simply extract it all, and after you will extract it all, only then you can set up a target machine. So just extract it and wait for it getting extracted. Now once both of your VirtualBox and Kali Linux is downloaded, what you have to do is just click on the VirtualBox installer and just click on the next option, and after clicking on the next, just accept the license agreement and click on the next button again. And if you want to read it, you can read it, but who even read this agreement? So just click on the next, and after you will click on the next, you will have to choose a custom setup. Now don't do anything here, don't change anything, just click on the next, and you will see a warning here of network interface, and that will eventually tell that while you will be installing Oracle VirtualBox, your networking features will reset your network connection and your network will be temporarily disconnected. So if you want to proceed the installation now, you can just say yes, and you don't have to worry about any of these things. Just click on yes and move on. And after you will click, you will get prompted with something like this. You don't have to worry about this missing dependencies section. Just click on yes and move ahead, and after that just click on next, and simply it will be ready to install. And once you will click to install, it will start installing, and after it will get installed, just click on finish, and once it is finished, that means your VirtualBox is completely set up, and it will look like something this. Now just simply head back to the folder where you have extracted your Kali Linux virtual machine, and here you will see some red box and some blue box. Let me just magnify this, and after that you don't have to click anywhere else, just click on the blue box and you will get your Kali Linux virtual machine open just like this, just here. And after that what will happen is just click here, go to the settings, and in the settings you have to configure few things. In the system settings, just increase the base memory. Don't increase it till it gets to the red section, because red is a danger area. You don't have to maximize the memory that much. Just keep it under the green section. If you have 16 GB RAM, it is good to give it 4 GB of RAM. Since I have 32 GB of RAMs, I'm giving it something around 8 GB of RAMs. And next, what you can do here is go to the network section, and in the network section, change the attached to NAT from the bridged adapter, because we are going to use internet and internet is necessary. Just change to bridged adapter. Now go to settings once again, and in the settings, what you have to do is just go to the processor and increase the core. So here by default this is 2, I'm setting it to 4. If you can set it to 4 or more, you can do it, but don't exceed the limit. After that, your virtual lab is completely set up. Just shoot it, just run your virtual machines, and that is how you can set up your own virtual lab. It will take few seconds to start up, and just wait for it getting started up. And our Kali Linux is actually booting. Now just here enter your password, that is Kali, and password is also Kali. Username and password both are Kali, and this is how your virtual machine will start. And just keep it to the full screen, and once you will keep it to full screen, you can see this is our Kali Linux, this is our attacker machine. And in the further lecture, we are going to set up our target machine as well, that is OS BWA. And to check if network is perfectly working or not, just search for vulntech.com and let's see if it renders or not. So yeah, so our website is perfectly starting. That means the network is also perfectly working. That means the internet is perfectly working here, as you can see up there also. So close the website, and this is how you have completely set up your virtual home lab. Welcome to this lecture everyone, and in this lecture what we are going to learn is one of the most important concept in web application security and bug bounty. And if I'm saying important, that means very important, and without learning this process, you cannot move ahead. You cannot do anything in web pen testing and in bug bounty. Basically, if you don't know this process, you won't earn anything in bug bounty, because you won't even know what you have to do without this. And this process that I'm talking right now is enumeration, that is information gathering. What is it and how to perform that? We are going to learn that right now. Now, many beginners think that professional hackers hack the website running exploits. That's not how it is done. Professional hackers first understand the workflow, understand the flow, understand the tech stack of a website, of an application, and after that they move to exploit any vulnerability they found. And also, I'm going to make sure that by the end of this lecture, you will be able to know what exactly is enumeration, why is it important, why enumeration leads to finding critical vulnerabilities, and why this information is so crucial. So let's begin our lecture. So now let's move ahead, and suppose you have been assigned to investigate a building. Suppose you are an investigator or some detective. Now you have to investigate this building. What building? This building, as you can see here. Now as an investigator, what you have to do is you will see how many CCTV cameras it have. How many CCTV cameras it have? How many doors does this building have? How many emergency exits does this building have? What exits? Emergency exits. So then how many floors are accessible? So accessible. Yeah. Then you will see which employee has which access. Which employee, right? Don't go towards my writing, it is pretty bad. Just learn what I'm teaching. Which employee has which access. Now the thing is, the more you will learn about your target, the easier your investigation will become. Easier your investigation will become. Because, and here is the thing that let me just erase all of this. Let me just erase all of this. Yeah. Now here's the thing. Whatever I have told you right now is exactly similar. Similar to what? This that we are learning, that is bug bounty. You have to get this mindset right. Investigate more, and the more you investigate, the easier your exploitation will become. And before finding about vulnerabilities on our target, we first learn about our target, how the workflow is. Because as much as you know your target, it is easier to manipulate them. It is easier to exploit them. Well, this is not something psychological, but it is how it works. Now, now the entire information gathering process is called enumeration. And now I guess you have learned what enumeration is. And if we move to the next slide, that is, enumeration is not attacking. So, what enumeration is? Enumeration is usually a passive and low impact process. So basically, you're just simply learning about the application and you are asking these simple questions. And what are these simple questions actually? What technology does the website use? What pages exist? What APIs are available? Which files are publicly accessible? What subdomains exist? Which parameters are accepted? And which version of softwares are these running? These all questions are very important to ask. Very, very important. And in the further lectures, you will understand why is it so important. And in this whole process, you are just doing one thing, just one thing. That is, if you have guessed it right, that is observing, not attacking anything. So think of it like creating a site map for your target, mapping each and everything, connecting every dots, and once every dot is connected, you simply just go and attack it. Now let's move ahead, and then we have this question. Why is it so important? Correct. We are learning about enumeration, we are learning about questions, what we have to look for. Why is it even important? Suppose you are given the responsibility of a company to find vulnerabilities. Now, you went straight to the home page, you looked for something, you just enumerated one page, you didn't do anything else. After 1 hour, you said, I found nothing. Then there is another intern or another person at your job who is your colleague. He performed enumeration. After 1 hour, he found something. What did he found? He found an admin panel. He found an staging server, a forgotten API, a backup file, and several hidden endpoints. Now the thing is, they test those instead. Instead of finding critical vulnerability, they just test these points. Now the different wasn't your skill. The different was enumeration. Different was enumeration. And this enumeration is what makes you different from other hackers. If you have done a perfect enumeration, you will find more vulnerabilities than any other hacker, and your chance of earning $1 million from bug bounty, even if it is not $1 million, $1,000, or $10,000, is increased because you have just done your homework better. You have performed enumeration better than any other hacker out there, any other bug bounty hunter out there. Because the thing is, most of the vulnerabilities are hidden, and the more you dig into the website, the more you will find. Now let's move ahead and let's see what do we actually enumerate. And the first thing is technologies. So the first we identify technologies used by application. And what do we actually identify in this technology? So we check for, is it running PHP? Is it running Next.js? Is it running Django? Why are these technologies so important? Why are these frameworks so important? Why does this matter? Because every technology has their own versions, every version has their own weaknesses and vulnerabilities. And if you know the tech stack of a company, you know exactly what to investigate and where to investigate. Next up, we have to enumerate web servers. Now, what are web servers? Web servers like Nginx, You must have heard about, even if you haven't, learn about this. Apache server. So why do we need to learn this? Why do we need to understand what server the target is using? Because sometimes versions are exposed, and if we know what web server they are using, we might even know potential weaknesses. Next up, what do we have to enumerate? We have to enumerate directories and files. Now, application often contains many directories that us users never see. And what are these directories actually? So you might see something like dash admin, or you might see something like dash API, something like dash dev, something like dash test. And why are these directories and files so important? Because sometimes developers accidentally leave backup and some older version files exposed on the application, and these hidden locations often become something excellent attack surface. Next up, if we move down, what we have to enumerate. Now this is a very interesting part, that is parameters. Now many pages accepts parameter. For example, question mark id equals 25. Now you might see these parameters on URL section also, like URL. And the most important part where you will see this is burp suit, where you will see on burp suit, you will understand how you're going to see, how you're going to change this. And what you have to change, you see this value 25, just try to change this to 26. what if you get the what if you get the data of other user? What if you change it to 1 and you get actually admin account? Changing parameters can give you access to the accounts that you might not have without credentials. So this is a very good attack surface you have to look for. Next up, we have APIs. Now modern applications rely heavily on APIs. For example, you must have heard about this REST API. Now, instead of testing only visible web pages, if you enumerate web API endpoints, sometimes these endpoints might expose more functionalities than actual web page, and that is why we need to enumerate this. Next up, if we move down, we have subdomains to look for. Now, the thing is, large organizations nowadays don't rely on single websites. So just look for something like api.x.com. Suppose there is a website named as x.com, or dev.x.com, or something like that. Now, what will happen is these subdomains might have some older version of softwares, some weak security, some bugs, and many bug bounty hunters start with looking for overlooked subdomains first to check for vulnerabilities. And if there is some subdomains with weak security, they might have vulnerabilities as well to be exploited. Next up, if we go down, we have hidden content. So now not every page is linked to the home page. Some can be referenced to JS file, or you might see something like this robot.txt. And enumeration exactly helps us find some hidden content on the website, on the application. Now the thing is, enumeration actually builds the attack surface. So a useful way to think about enumeration is this, that you are building a complete picture of an application. What API is it using, what web technology is it using, what server, what subdomains, and what not. And together these information forms a complete attack surface. And the larger your information, larger your understanding about the surface is, you exactly know where you need to look for vulnerabilities. Because unless you don't know where to look for, you cannot test what you don't know exists. In the next lecture, we will learn more.
Welcome back everyone. In this lecture, we are going to download a software that we are going to use as a target. In the previous lectures, we have downloaded our virtual machine, we have set up our hacking lab and our Kali Linux virtual machine. That was our hacking machine by which we are going to hack multiple web applications. But in this lecture we are going to download the software that is actually our target, and that is this OWASP BWA. That stands for OS Broken Web Application. As its name states, it has broken web applications. That means it has multiple web applications that are vulnerable and more prone to hack. So to start with this software, we just have to download it first, and this software is a small software and it does not have a huge space problem, so it will be downloaded much easier and much faster than we have set up our Kali Linux. For that you just have to click on download button, and as you will click on download, you will see your download will start shortly in few seconds, and after this timer gets done, it will automatically start downloading in your folder. But I will cancel it now because as you can see I already have it on my desktop, and as you can see this is my folder. And first you have to unzip it. Without unzipping it you cannot use it. So as you can see I have unzipped it all, and you can see all these files here, and these files are gonna be very useful. So to run this, first we have to open our VirtualBox, and now our VirtualBox is right here, and as you can see we have our Kali Linux virtual machine as well. And to add our OWASP BWA, we just have to click on new here, name it as whatever you like to, but I will name it as OWASP BWA, and I will not select any ISO image here. I'm just going to select Linux here, then in subtype you have to choose other Linux and then other Linux 64-bit. We have some other options as well, leave it as it is. Then we are going to do some modification in hardware configuration. Here you can see half GB of RAM is already allocated to this machine, but we are going to increase it a little bit, and 1 GB of RAM is sufficient. It does not require much more RAM as our Kali Linux machine. Then we will move to hard disk. Now here what you have to do is you have to choose this option that says use an existing virtual hard disk file, and in this what you have to do is click on this option, go to add and go to the file where it is located, and once you will go here you have to select this OS broken web application cl1.vmdk file. You don't have to choose other extension files, but you have to choose this file which has no extension. So once you will select and open this file, it will be added in not attached section. So you just have to click on it, you have to choose it, and once you will choose this you just have to click on finish, and once you will finish you can see there is your OS BW virtual machine is available. So first you have to click here to start this, and it will be started in no mean time. So let's wait and let's see what we will get from this machine. So as you can see the machine is starting already. So as you all can see we have got a login page, and it is asking us to enter our login credentials, and if you zoom in we can log in with the username root and password is OSBWA. So let's just type root here, let's enter the password that is OSBWA. So once we hit enter you can say you have a new mail, welcome to OS broken web application virtual machine. Tells us our IP address as well. Now this IP address is little different. It is not starting with the 192 or something, because it is using a NAT network. So first we have to close this. So let's power off this machine completely, and we have to go in details, then in settings, and in settings you have to navigate to the network setting, and here we are going to choose bridge adapter just like we have selected while setting up our Kali Linux hacking machine. So now just leave it to bridge adapter, click on OK, and now power it again, and once we power this machine up we will again have to log in and we will see what we have to do next. So now once again our machine is ready, and let's log in here first. So if we will type root here and OSBWA as password, Now as you can see, it gave us the IP address as 192.168.29.124. Okay, now to check if this IP address is correct or not, we can type here command ifconfig, and once we type ifconfig, you can see here the IP address is inet address is 192.168.29.124. Now what all these commands are, if you don't know what these commands are, we have already taught all this in our ethical hacking bootcamp, so I'm not going to tell all of these here. So it's pretty good if you learn from ethical hacking bootcamp as well. So let's minimize this and let's open our Kali Linux virtual machine here as well to check few more things. So now since our Linux machine is right here, let's just go to our Firefox CSR and we have to check something. So let's bring this Firefox here and let's maximize it to full screen, and we will use another tab and let's see what was the IP address of that machine. So the IP address was 192.168.29.124. so let's just type here 192.168.29.124, and once we hit enter, as you can see, we have landed on a web page that is of OSBW, and here you can see, and it contains many vulnerable web applications which are listed here, and we can get more information about all these projects. As you can see, we have training applications, we have realistic intentionally vulnerable applications, we have old vulnerable version of real applications like WordPress, web calendar, TikiWiki, and many more. We have some application for testing tools, and we are not actually going to hack all these machines, but we are going to hack only those machines which are necessarily to learn about bug bounty and web penetration testing, which are genuinely useful for us. Also, if you want to check if this machine is active or running or not, what you can do is just open this terminal here. Okay, let me just minimize this, and here is the terminal, and let's just enlarge the text size first. And what command you can use is ping and type the IP address again, that was 192.168.29.124, and hit enter, and as you can see, the ICMP packets are getting transferred. Now what are these ICMP packets and what is this ping command? We are going to explore and read about all this in the upcoming lectures. For that, you just have to know that this is how we can communicate with our machine on the same network, and this is how we can ping. And also we are getting this IP address in our OSBW because we have connected through a bridged adapter, and that's how we can communicate with it. Also, be cautious while connecting to a bridged adapter only when you are in your safe home network and you are not using your office's home network, your college's home network, or any public network, because it can have untrusted devices that you cannot trust and it can interrupt your network. So make sure and be cautious while you are accessing this machine, you are connected with the safe and secure network. Also, as you can see, OSBWA is a command line interface, not a graphical user interface, just like our Metasploitable, which is going to be used for hacking multiple devices. So this is it for this lecture, and I will see you in the next section, that is enumeration and information gathering, and that is very crucial section to learn about the vulnerabilities we can find and how we can gather as much as information possible about our target. Welcome back everyone. In this lecture we are going to use some tools like ping, host, NSLookup, whois, and some other techniques to gather information about our target websites. Now these steps are very crucial for gathering crucial details about our target, and since we are in the information gathering phase and we have learned how we can use Google Dorking, now we want to use these things. We are just going to take a look how we can get IP addresses from random websites, how we can get some personal details from the website. So the first command which we will going to perform in this terminal is ping command, and we have already performed this ping command previously in our previous lecture. Now ping command allows us to determine whether a host is online or offline. For example, if I type ping command and then the address of my virtual machine and press enter, it will continue pinging my virtual machine, by which we can determine that machine is up. So let's try it, and let's first check that if our OWASP is live or running or not. So it is running and it is live. So if we type ping here, and if we type the IP address of my OWASP machine, that was this, and if we hit enter, as we can see, these ICMP packets are getting transferred to our machine. That means our vulnerable machine is live and running. So if we just stop it by Ctrl+C, you can see there was 10 packets transmitted, 10 received, and 0 packets lost. And beside this ping command and IP addresses, we can actually use website name. For example, if we can type Facebook or Instagram, so let's just type here ping google.com, and if we hit enter, you can see the ICMP packets are getting transferred. And if we enlarge this and maximize the size of portal, you can maximize the size of terminal, you can see all these packets are getting transferred. So let's just stop it and minimize it, and all these packets, that were 18 packets of ICMP, got received and there was 0 packet loss. That means the website, that is google.com, is live and running. Also, you can see in the brackets we are getting IPv6 IP address as well. So this IP address is owned by Google, and you might get some different IP addresses as well, because these large websites contains a lot of servers. These large websites are hosted on many servers and it can be located anywhere, so the IP address may be different. What other command now you can use is host command. So if we type host and type google.com, now it tells us google.com has this IP address, it has this IPv6 address that we can see here, and it says google.com mail is handled by smtp.google.com. So this command also tells us about the IP address of any website, and we can extract IP addresses from this. Now there is another command, that is nslookup, and if we type nslookup and we will type google.com, and if we hit enter, you can see we got some more information, that is google.com and its IP address. Now this time this IP address and this IP address is little different. That's because I have told you these websites are large websites, they have large databases, and they are hosted on multiple servers. That's why we can get multiple IP addresses as well. Now beside these IP addresses, we can also extract some additional details that is publicly available, and we can do that using a tool called Whois. Now Whois tool is used for gathering information about details of websites, registrations that the owner of website has provided, and this usually provides us with some additional context such as emails, phone numbers, and also some physical addresses as well. So let's give it a try, and let's type Whois google.com here, and if we hit enter, you can see we got a large output here, and if we scroll a little bit up, let's see what we have got. So as you can see, we got the registry domain ID, we got some update date, we got some registrar information as well, we got the domain name, that is of google.com, we got some abuse complaint email addresses, we got some phone number as well, and let's see what else we have got. There is some physical addresses, that this organization is situated at California, that is CA. Registrant company is United States, as we all know where this company is located, and you can use this tool for any website. Also it tells us some more numbers to contact them. If you are in USA or if you are in Europe, this is the contact number, and you can get many more information regarding these websites. And beside using these command line tools, you can also take a look at some websites that will also give you much more information about other websites, and that is called passive information gathering.
Why it is called passive information gathering? Because till now we were using some tools that were directly interacting with the websites, that were directly performing the scans on websites, and that is active information gathering. That means we are directly interacting to the servers of those websites. Now third party websites do it on behalf of us. That means the website doesn't get alerted that someone is trying to gather information about them. So let's give it a try. And if we open our Firefox here and if we type website IP here, so let's see, there is a site 24x7. so if we type this website and we just have to type the domain name and it will give us information about that website. So let's just type for google.com here. So let's find IP of google.com, and as you can see there is IP address of google.com. Now I think this IP address is little different from the IP address we have got earlier. So let's scroll back on our terminal, and as you can see, this is the terminal we got on the active information gathering scan, and this is the IP address we have got while doing passive information gathering. So that's how you can extract multiple details, multiple things regarding a target or particular website. So there is a lot of tools, as I have already said, and they are pretty useful for discovering information. So this was it for this lecture, that was on ping commands and some additional commands that is used for information gathering, either active information gathering or passive information gathering. Meet you in the next lecture. Okay, so it's time that we have to start our enumeration, and before starting it, we have to do a very first thing, that is to look at our website through our browser. This is the very basic stuff that we need to check, and for that we are going to use our Firefox, and make sure that you have your OS BWA live and running, and also your Kali Linux machine as well, because we are going to use this machine. Once you have started this OS BWA, then we can visit IP address of this machine, that is OS BWA. And in my case, the IP address is 192.168.29.124, and that we wanted to visit, and I have already shown you how you can check your IP address. And if you don't know how you can check your IP address, so let me show you how you can do it. So what you have to do here is just type ifconfig here, and once you type ifconfig, you will get an output that it will suggest your inet address is 192.168.29.124. in my case, this is my IP address, but your might be different because of your home network and because of your Wi-Fi. So don't think that something is wrong with your output. It just, I have my different subnets and you will have your different subnets, so that's why I'm getting this IP address. So now open your Firefox here and now type your IP address here. So that was 192.168.29.124, and let's click, and as you can see, we have multiple links here, we have multiple web applications here, and I have already shown you what all these are. And we have already noticed that we have bunch of links right here. So this page has bunch of other pages, and that could be hosting different services, that could be offering different things, and it could potentially have multiple login forums as well, or something similar that we can exploit. For example, let's pick any of these and let's go to this one under realistic intentionally vulnerable application. And if we click this, as you can see, we notice some stuff at first glance. It has a login forum, it has a login button, it has a search bar, it has a file upload section in which there is no particular file selected. We can send a file, we can select a file here, and this login button can potentially lead us to some type of brute force attack where we could try gaining access to a certain account of this page. Perhaps they may have weak passwords. We can log in it if we brute force that account, and you never really know what kind of vulnerabilities or what kind of weaknesses you could find in these. So you just have to play around and look around towards all interesting things, that whatever you like to interact with. We also have some type of file here, and all of these things we would want to play around and see what we can do with them as well. Now take a look at another page as well. So if we go back here and let's check this dvwa button, and as you can see we have a user login here. It can be admin login or anything, but we don't have much information regarding this page here, as you can see. But you can see there is a login forum. We can gain access through it by a brute force attack as well, and there can be many things that we can do. Now let's go back, and since we don't really know any username or password here, and we don't really know what this page is asking for, and it says it could be some administration page as well, as I have told you. It basically could be anything whatsoever. What else we can do is try something like admin, and in this case we don't really get anything.
So now let's try some other websites. For example, I will type here vulntech.com. That is our own website. And if we go to our website, that is vulntech.com, let's see what we can find here. So as you can see on this website, we have multiple pages. We have our compiler, we have our library, we have our courses. But what else we can find here is there is a login page. Now in the login page, some other websites or even this website can be vulnerable and can be injectable. Maybe we have some injection codes that we can apply here and try brute forcing this page and get access to it. Or maybe in the compiler we can do something, or there is a lot of things that we can do on the website. And but the login portal or the login page is something that catches our eyes first when we are doing bug bounty hunting and penetration testing. And I would highly condemn any act of illegal activities or unethical activities, because if you don't have permission to test on a particular website or do active information gathering on a particular website, you should not do, as it may cause some serious consequences according to your country's cyber laws. As per Indian cyber law section 43 and 66, you might have to face sentences or maybe some fines. So I would highly condemn for any illegal activities regarding web penetration testing attack, and do these things only when you have permission. So I'm the owner of this website, I'm the owner of the company, so that's why I am showing you, and I can do anything regarding this. Also there is something we can do about it. So let's go to the home page again, and if in the URL we go here, type slash, and if we type admin, let's see if we can get admin portal or not. In various website, when you type slash admin in the URL section and you hit enter, you will get a admin panel, or you can say admin portal, where you can use some default credentials that are very common. For example, admin for username and password, and some common password for brute forcing. And that's how you can brute force into admin panel account. And don't do it until you have the permission, or else you will face legal consequences. So let's just enter this here and let's see if we can go to admin panel or not. As you can see, we have got that admin portal here that is already public, and if I would know what was the mobile number used here and what was the password used here, I could have login. And that's how you can log in into admin portal of any website as well, if you are doing penetration testing or web penetration testing with the complete permission of the website owner. So that's how you can look for admin portal and look for various vulnerabilities regarding login credentials and admin credentials. But there is more something you can do, is Google docking, and this lecture is basically based on Google docking. So let's see what else we can do in the Google docking. Suppose you want to find all these emails related to vulntech.com, and you want to find some PDF files regarding vulntech.com, because many times some developers forget to remove directories or remove folder from public domain, and that might be containing some credentials, some confidential details, or some PDFs that might contain some username and password regarding website. So let's see how we can do it with Google Docking. For that, you have to type site colon and then the website name, that is vulntech.com, and then you have to type file type colon PDF. So once you do this, okay, let's remove extra colon, and once you hit enter, let's see if we can find anything regarding that or not. So as you can see, we have no PDF file on our website or attached to our website because we haven't uploaded any PDF. But if you would do this Google Docking command with any other website or any other company website, you might find various PDF regarding that website as well. For obvious legal reasons, I cannot show because it will be a unethical practice to show some other website or some other company's PDFs. But if you want to try, you may try, but I would not recommend of trying it without any permission. So let's see what else we can find. We can find some emails as well with Google Docking. So what is the command for finding emails by Google Docking? Let's see what is that. So if we type inverted comma @gmail.com inverted comma close /site colon and then vulntech.com. So if we hit enter, let's see if we can get some email addresses or not. So we are not getting any email addresses regarding vulntech.com because we don't have any email address on our website. So let's see what else we can do to find email addresses. So if we will type @vulntech.com, because sometimes some website have their mail address as their website name after @. So if we hit enter, what did we find is we found many results regarding vulntech.com regarding this. For example, we have found our LinkedIn page, we have found our Instagram page, we have found my Instagram account, we have found the Linux course introduction, and by this you can find some emails. For example, if you go to our LinkedIn page, you may find some emails there. So that's how you can find emails with this Google Docking command. Previously we have known how we can access admin portal with the help of URL, but now let's see how we can find admin portal with the help of Google Docking. So for that, you just have to type in title colon admin or in URL colon admin site, and here just type vulntech, and if we hit enter, we didn't get anything. Okay, so there was a silly mistake here. We just have to add another I here, and if we type enter, hit enter here, let's see if we found anything or not. So we didn't found anything, and sometimes these Google Docking commands might not work. So what you can do now if your Google Docking command isn't working? So just cross this, and there is a website that is a whole lot of database regarding these Google Docking commands, that is exploit.db. You can access that database from right here, or you can see we have Google hacking database here mentioned as well. But if you want to type manually, let's say you have to type exploit.db Google hacking, and if we hit enter and click on the first link that we have got after the search result, and it will start loading, and here as you can see, we can see date added, we can see dork, it is site colon github.com begin open SSH private key, and you can see the category as well, and the category says it is for file containing password, and you can see author name as well. If you scroll a little bit down, you can see and explore as many as Google Docking commands you want, to, and also we have database regarding exploits, regarding shellcodes, and many more things. For this lecture we are not going that deep, but this is how you can use Google Docking as your information gathering or enumeration step. See you in the next lecture.
Welcome back, everyone. In this lecture, we are going to use a tool named as WhatWeb. Now, as its name states, WhatWeb, that means it discovers all the web-related details of our target. Now, WhatWeb tool looks for a more technical aspect of information gathering. It gathers us details about the softwares, it gathers information about the servers a website is using, what plugins that website is using, and whatsoever. regarding that website's technical aspect. So let's do it straight as usual. Make sure that you have your OSBW machine running in the background, and all we need is to run whatweb tool, and then we have to type your IP address of your target we want to scan. So let's do it, and first open our terminal here and enlarge the size, and here we have to type whatweb. Once you type whatweb, and the IP address of my machine was 192.168.29.124, and once we hit enter, let's wait for the output to be presented to us. So it says execution expired, so let's check if our machine is running or not. So if we type here something, okay, the website is completely fine and running. And if we type this command again, let's see if we can get our output now. Okay, so as you can see, we have got the output, and as we can see, it tells us the IP address here. It says code 200. Okay, that means the web page is completely loaded. It tells us that it uses Apache 2.2.14 for server. It tells us some mods. It tells us about its country. It tells us about email addresses, HTML5 plugins, HTTP servers, and some plugins. jQuery, it tells us the IP address as well, that we already know. It tells us about OpenSSL. It tells us about PHP passenger. It tells us that it uses Perl and Python 2.6.5 as well. So this is how we can get a look at the technical side of a website or our target, and it basically allows us to discover technologies behind a certain website. And what could be our next step is to take perhaps Apache version and Google this version whether it has some known vulnerabilities that exist. And now this is not just a regular command. With whatweb you can discover many things, and what else we can do with whatever, we can run this command, which is whatweb help. So let's type here whatweb dash help, and we will get a help menu. So if we will scroll a little bit up, it gives us a big huge banner of whatweb with dollar signs, and it tells us that whatweb is next generation web scanner version of 0.55. It tells us its usage, like we can type whatweb and whatever the option it is providing us, and then the URL or IP address of a website name, website domain name, or its IP address as well. Also telling that in the target we can enter URLs, we can enter host names, IP addresses, file names, and even if possible IP ranges. It tells us we can give it input files as well. We can modify a target, we can add prefix and suffix to target URL, insert targets into a URL, and we can also control the aggression level, and that trades off between speed and stealth and reliability. Level 1 of aggression is stealthy, level 3 is very aggressive, and level 3 is very heavy. You can read the description about them as well, as it says the aggressive level. If a level 1 plugin is matched, additional request will be made. You can read about some HTTP options here, you can read some proxy options, some plugin options, and if you don't understand, you can just simply stop and read them all in your terminal. What else you can use to get more information about any tool, or specifically this tool, is you can type whatweb here and type command man. Now man whatweb command gives us a complete manual of this tool, and you can use it with any other tool as well if you don't know what that tool does. So it tells us name of this tool, that is whatweb, and it is a next generation web scanner to identify technologies used by websites. It gives us the synopsis, it gives us the description that tells us whatweb identifies websites, and its goal is to answer the question, what is that website? As its name states, whatweb recognizes web technologies including content management systems, blogging platforms, statistics, analytics package, JavaScript libraries, web servers, and many more. Whatweb can be stealthy and fast, or thorough but slow. Whatweb supports an aggression level to control the trade-off between speed and reliability. When you visit a website in your browser, the transaction includes many hints of what web technologies are powering and that website. Sometimes a single web page which contains
enough information to identify a website when it does not. Now, what web can interrogate the website further? As you can see, the default level of aggression called passive, as it is fastest and requires only HTTP request of website, and this is suitable for scanning public websites. More aggressive level are deployed for in penetration test. That simply means if you don't have the permission to scan a particular website or particular server, you should not use the maximum aggression level. If you don't have permission, do not use unless you are a penetration tester and you are performing a penetration testing attack. Most what web plugins are thorough and recognized in a range of queue. So now this is the complete introduction about what web. It tells us that it has over 1800 plugins. It trades off between speed and stealthiness and many more things. And you can read about this in your terminal as well. So to quit, you just have to type Q here, and let's try this on our website. So just type what web here, and we are going to use aggression level. So just type aggression, add some dash dash in front of this aggression command. So this is it, and then the level 3. And if we type the IP address, that is was 192.168.29.124, and if we hit enter, just have to wait a little bit for this scan to be completed, as it is a more deeper scan. It will take a lot more time. So now since we have got a whole lot of output, we can use another command, that is -v command, that is for verbose output. And what verbose output will do for us is it will give this whole content, this whole output in organized manner with the sophisticated reading modules. So let's now again wait a little bit and let's see what we can get from this command. So as we can see, if we scroll a little bit up, we have got a lot of details about our target. So if we just simply, we can see we got a great summary about our target. It tells us the IP address, it tells its status, it tells its title as well, that was OSBWA broken web application. It tells us about the IP address. It gives us a complete summary of its server, its email addresses, its plugins. You can get a complete detailed output, as I have told you, about all these plugins. So if you don't know what a particular plugin does, you can read about it. So we have this Apache plugin here. So now the Apache HTTP server project is an effort to develop and maintain open source HTTP servers for modern operating systems, including Unix and Windows NT. And the goal of this is to provide a source, efficient and extendable server that provides HTTP services in sync with the current HTTP standards. And if we scroll a little bit, if you don't know what is jQuery, it is a fast, concise JavaScript, simplifies how to traverse HTML documents, handle events, perform animation, and add Ajax. Version being used is this, and there is detailed information about all the plugins that is being used in this particular website. That's how you can use what web tool to gather as much as information in a technical perspective, in a technical aspect about your target. This was it for this lecture. Meet you in the next one. Okay, now it's time to discover another tool, that is Dub. And Dub is not a big tool, it is a very small tool. So this lecture will be a short and quick one. So let's get our hand on the Dub tool and let's see what is it. So we use Dub to discover hidden directories on a website, or you can also consider it as a tool that is used to brute force directory names and see whether these directory names exist or if they don't. Now, as with the almost just like other tools, we can run Dub straight from our terminal. We just have to type Dub and we will get a lot more options regarding it. Now we are not going to use this tool as much as deeper. We are going to use some basic option in this tool as well, because enumeration is not our main part of website penetration testing, but we can use this tool. We will just cover the basics. However, if you do want to check all these options out there regarding this tool, you can check other options as well. And to see what this tool does, you can just type simply Dub on the terminal and you will get a whole lot of user manual regarding this tool. Now
let's just do it right away. If we type dub here, and you can see we got a lot of option here. We got a note here, we got a user guide here, how we can use this tool. We get all these options, -A, -B, -C. Now what we want to do with this dub tool is we want to discover some hidden directories, and to do that we just have to simply type dirb http and then the IP address of our web application software. So let's just type dub here, and we will type http:// and if you remember the IP address of the machine, this was it. And if we hit enter, you can see all these things getting generated and testing. So let's stop it right here, and if we type ctrlc, it will be stopped here. And even if we didn't use ctrlc, it will kept going and going till it discovers all the directories. And as you can see, all of these output that we discovered these directories on the website right here. We can see how many words did it generated. As of now, it created 4612 words, and all these words will be tested out as possible directories on this website, and straight away we managed to find some of them. As we can see, we have assets on the website, we have CGI bin, and we have cross domain. And if you're wondering what these things in the brackets are, these are just simple codes that we have already known that 200 okay is that means the page already exists, and if it were to get some code resulting in error, then it would probably determine that the page does not exist, so it doesn't print it right here. So if we go all the way down, we can see that it has already discovered a bunch of other directories, and what you would do is you would pretty much go through all these and see whether you see any interesting for us. For example, any administrator directly could potentially give us some password files or user files, because you never know what the website developer put there and forgot to remove or hide there from the machine. You could probably get source code as well, and maybe the entire database is public. I mean, you never know. Even though it's rare, it can happen. So nonetheless, just see to which point to get, and if we didn't have stopped it, it must be discovering till now. And we are not going to stop right here. We are going to use some other commands as well regarding dub. So since if you type a straight command like this, which is just dub and then IP address over HTTP, it will use a usual list as always. But what you can do now is you can specify a particular directory as well, just right after your IP address. You can do something just like user share word list, and this is the path to word list in a Linux. So let's just perform it right here. So if we go back to a command, and now if we just type /usr/share/word list, and if we hit enter, and after you type this command, and if you want to see all the options these word lists have, just have to type double tab, and you can see we have dub, we have all these subdirectories, we have nmap list, we have dub list, we have docu.txt list. So in this we are going to use derp one. So let's just type dub and hit tab. If we again type double tab here, you can see we have another list of text files. So if we just go with this common one, so if we type tab and if we hit enter, you can see it is giving us all these results. And since it is discovering all these directories, what you can do now is you can check these directories if it exists or not. So you just copy this selection and go to your Firefox browser, and in the Firefox browser just paste this link and hit enter. And as you can see, we have a lot of images in this directories, and as you can see, this directory exists. And if we go back to the terminal, and let's see what else we can do right here. So if we scroll a little bit, you can see we have phpMyAdmin. So, and if you copy this selection and go to a new tab and paste it right here, you can see we have got a phpMyAdmin panel. Now as we have covered this much and we also got our admin login page, now all we have left to cover is two important talks. That is, we will cover nmap and we will cover nicto, that are basic tools, and we are going to use just basic commands of nmap and nicto, because that is a huge tool and we are not going to cover it in detail. What is more important for us is burp suite. Burp suite is something that we are going to use always before website penetration testing. And why I'm saying that we are going to look for burp suite in detail and why we didn't cover advanced command of these basic tools is because these are not that important, but it is up to you that if you want to go with these tools you can use. I'm not saying that you don't have to use these tools. These tools are very useful, but what I'm saying that it is a tool that you will use for bug bounty and its main purpose is to actually use it for bug bounty. While all of these tools that we covered by now, you can use it as you like, and we will cover about burp suite more in the next lectures. So that's it for this lecture and see you in the other one. Welcome back everyone. In this lecture we are going to discuss about a powerful tool that is Nmap. Nmap stands for network mapper, that is shortened as Nmap, and this tool helps us to scan ports and tell us what services that port is running, what protocols it is running, and by that, after scanning ports, we can identify some vulnerabilities as well as it has some scripts as well. We are not going much deeper in this tool. We are not going to use advanced scans of Nmap. We are just going to perform some basic scans of Nmap. But if you want to learn more about Nmap, or if you want to learn more advanced scans about Nmap, you can just simply type Nmap on your terminal and -- help command or man Nmap to get through all these commands and check its manual. You can read about Nmap from its website as well. I'm going to show you how you can do all these stuff. So let's begin. So if you want to know how we can check or learn more about Nmap, so you just have to type Nmap here and -- help after it and hit enter, and you can see we have got a long output regarding this tool. You can see target specification, you can see its usage, how you can use it. You have to type Nmap, then scan type, then option, and then target specification. You can perform host discovery using SL command, SN command, PN command, and all these commands are some advanced commands and I'm not going to cover in this video. But if you want to check all these, you can try at your own, because Nmap is a large tool. You can see to discover services and versions, we can use this command, that is -sv. To scan scripts, we can use this command, and to perform OS detection on a particular machine, we can use this command as well. So let's get a hand on quickly, and if we type Nmap here and type the IP address of our OS machine here, if we remember the IP address, this was it, and if we hit enter, it might take a little bit time. Let's wait till the scan gets completed, and then we will get some output that can be helpful us. And as you can see, it took 7 seconds, and let's see what we have got in the output. So as you can see, it is showing that it is the scan report for this IP address. Host is up, that means the machine is running, and what it is not showing is 991 closed TCP ports. Now why it is showing 991? Because the Nmap scans top 1000 ports on any system, so it scanned only 1000, and out of those 1000, only 9 ports are active and running. There can be more than 65,000 ports, but I'm not going that deeper. And as you can see, we have first port, that is port 22 for TCP protocol. It is open for SSH service. Port 80 for TCP, port 80, and it is hosting a HTTP service, that means it is hosting a web page. We have port 143 for IMAP, again we have port 443 for HTTPS, and we have port 8080 for HTTP proxy, and port 8081 for Black Ice IceCap. Now we got the service names, but what we didn't got what type of versions these services are using. To check what version they are running, we just have to type a simple command, that is nmap/sv, as I have shown you earlier, and then you have to type the IP address of your target, that was this. And once we type the IP address and hit enter, let's wait for a while, because Nmap will scan whole lot of ports and it will give us the result in a few seconds. So as you can see, in 20 seconds the IP address is scanned up, as it is showing that Nmap done by one IP address, one host is up, scanned in 20 seconds. And let's scroll a little bit up, and as you can see, for port 22 SSH, it is using version OpenSSH 5.3 PI Debian. For port 80, it is using Apache HTTPD 2.2, and if you remember what web scan suggested us or shown
shown us that the web page is using Apache server, and it is exactly similar to that output. So that's how you can cross check your information whatever you have got from other tools. If we scroll a little bit down, you can see for port 143 it is using Courier Impad, and for port 8080 it is using Apache Tomcat, and for port 8081 it is using Jetty. Now what these two things are, these two things are a little bit new for us, so that's how we can find versions as well. And if you want to find some vulnerabilities regarding your machine, you can use some scripts as well. So if we type nmap here and dash dash script and vul and then the name of your or the IP address of your target machine, and if we hit enter, let's wait for a while because this command is pretty heavy and it will take a lot more time. Until it's taking time, let me show you something. If we open our Firefox, and now here if we type nmap.org and if we hit enter, you can see we have a complete guide about this nmap tool. Here you can find all the documents here, all the modules here, and also you can find all the scripts here as well. So if we are using any command here, you can find on nmap.org as well, and by clicking upper key you can check the status how much it is done. So as you can see 84% is already done, and let's see how much it is now. So it is 85. Let's wait for few seconds more and let's see what vulnerabilities this script will find regarding our OWASP BWA. Okay, so it took 2 minutes or something. So as you can see, it took a little bit time. So if we scroll up, let's see what vulnerabilities it has found regarding this OWASP BWA. So the first thing my eye caught is it is regarding this Apache DOS filter, and it says it is vulnerable. That means it has some vulnerability. It has the vulnerability ID as well, it has its BID as well, and you can check about these vulnerabilities on the exploit DB as well with this ID. So let's scroll a little bit more and let's see what we have discovered it. So as you can see, for HTTPS cross domain policy it says vulnerable. That means this thing is again vulnerable and it has some vulnerability regarding web page. And if we scroll a little bit down, as we have already saw regarding this, and as we can see we have HTTP vulnerability again here, and if we scroll a little bit down we have again a vulnerability regarding SSL, and it says the SSL poodle information leak. That means there might be some information leaks happening there, and nmap scan sometimes can give you false positive report as well. For example, what I mean from false positive, that as you can see here HTTP CSRF, you can see it gives some vulnerabilities here, but it says that there is some possibilities. That means it is not sure that if it is vulnerable or not, but it is also saying that it is vulnerable with some possibilities regarding CSRF vulnerabilities. That means there might be some possibilities of CSRF vulnerabilities in these following link, and we will see if they have or not. Also sometimes it gives a false result, as it is saying that HTTP stored accesses couldn't find some stored accesses vulnerabilities, and indeed our OWASP BWA have these vulnerabilities in it, and I know they have it, but this scan is showing that it doesn't have it. Now also there is a pretty good feature regarding this nmap scripts, that if you want to run a single script regarding some vulnerabilities, you can do it as well. So for example, if we copy this one and let's go back to the terminal here, and if we track back to that command, and if we erase this and paste this, and if we hit enter, it will take slightly lesser time and it will give us results regarding this particular vulnerability. And I don't think so it will give, because as we have shown earlier that it was saying there is no stored accesses vulnerabilities in it, but OWASP BW indeed have stored accesses vulnerability, and we will find it later. So as you can see in the scan, it is saying again that it doesn't have this vulnerability, but as I have told you, it has. And that's how you can use nmap as your vulnerability scanner as well, and to scan some ports and scan services as well, and that's how you will get more and more results. So keep playing around with this tool, and in the next lecture we are going to use a tool that is named as Nikto. So let's meet in the next lecture. Welcome back everyone. In this lecture we are going to use some tools like ping, host, nslookup, whois, and some
other techniques to gather information about our target websites. Now these steps are very crucial for gathering crucial details about our target, and since we are in the information gathering phase and we have learned how we can use Google docking, now we want to use these things. We are just going to take a look how we can get IP addresses from random websites, how we can get some personal details from the website. So first let's just open our terminal here. So let's open our terminal here, and for the first command which we will going to perform in this terminal is ping command, and we have already performed this ping command previously in our previous lecture. Now ping command allows us to determine whether a host is online or offline. For example, if I type ping command and then the address of my virtual machine and press enter, it will continue pinging my virtual machine, by which we can determine that machine is up. So let's try it, and let's first check that if our OWASP is live or running or not. So it is running and it is live. So if we type ping here, and if we type the IP address of my OWASP machine, that was this, and if we hit enter, as we can see, these ICMP packets are getting transferred to our machine. That means our vulnerable machine is live and running. So if we just stop it by Ctrl+C, you can see there was 10 packets transmitted, 10 received, and 0 packets lost. And beside this ping command and IP addresses, we can actually use website name. For example, if we can type Facebook or Instagram, so let's just type here pinggoogle.com, and if we hit enter, you can see the ICMP packets are getting transferred. And if we enlarge this and maximize the size of portal, you can maximize the size of terminal, you can see all these packets are getting transferred. So let's just stop it and minimize it, and all these packets, that were 18 packets of ICMP, got received and there was 0 packet loss. That means the website, that is google.com, is live and running. Also you can see in the brackets we are getting IPv6 IP address as well. So this IP address is owned by Google, and you might get some different IP addresses as well, because these large websites contains a lot of servers. These large websites are hosted on many servers and it can be located anywhere, so the IP address may be different. What other command now you can use is host command. So if we type host and type google.com, it tells us google.com has this IP address, it has this IPv6 address that we can see here, and it says google.com mail is handled by smtp.google.com. So this command also tells us about the IP address of any website, and we can extract IP addresses from this. Now there is another command, that is nslookup, and if we type nslookup and we will type google.com, and if we hit enter, you can see we got some more information, that is google.com and its IP address. Now this time this IP address and this IP address is little different. That's because I have told you these websites are large websites, they have large databases and they are hosted on multiple servers. That's why we can get multiple IP addresses as well. Now beside these IP addresses, we can also extract some additional details that is publicly available, and we can do that using a tool called Whois. Now Whois tool is used for gathering information about details of websites, registrations that the owner of website has provided, and this usually provides us with some additional context such as emails, phone numbers, and also physical addresses as well. So let's give it a try and let's type Whois google.com here, and if we hit enter, you can see we got a large output here, and if we scroll a little bit up, let's see what we have got. So as you can see, we got the registry domain ID, we got some update date, we got some registrar information as well, we got the domain name, that is of google.com, we got some abuse complaint email addresses, we got some phone number as well, and let's see what else we have got. There is some physical addresses, that this organization is situated at California, that is CA. Registrant company is United States, as we all know where this company is located, and you can use this tool for any website. Also, it tells us some more numbers to contact them. If you are in USA or if you are in Europe, this is the contact number, and you can get. And beside using these command line tools, we will always use, you can also take a look at some websites that will also give you much more information about other websites, and that is called passive information gathering. Why it is called passive information gathering? Because till now we were using some tools that were directly interacting with the websites, that were directly performing the scans on websites, and that is active information gathering. That means we are directly interacting to the servers of those websites. Now third party websites do it on behalf of us. That means the website doesn't get alerted that someone is trying to gather information about them. So let's give it a try. And if we open our Firefox here and if we type website IP here, so let's see, there is a site 24x7. So if we type this website, and we just have to type the domain name and it will give us information about that website. So let's just type for google.com here. So let's find IP of google.com, and as you can see, there is IP address of google.com. Now I think this IP address is little different from the IP address we have got earlier. So let's scroll back on our terminal, and as you can see, this is the terminal we got on the active information gathering scan, and this is the IP address we have got while doing passive information gathering. So that's how you can extract multiple details, multiple things regarding target or particular website. You can use multiple methods. There is no particular one way, there is no particular method that is going to be used as a benchmark. You can use multiple methods, whatever the technique you want, whatever the technique you need, whatever the tool you need to gather information to hack a particular target, you have to use it. There is no particular pathway to any methodology. You just have to create your own. So that's how you can get multiple outputs. So there is a lot of tools, as I have already said, and they are pretty useful for discovering information. So this was it for this lecture, that was on ping commands and some additional commands that is used for information gathering, either active information gathering or passive information gathering. Meet you in the next lecture. Alright, so we are done with most of the tools, and in this lecture we are going to explore a tool that is named as Nikto. Now Nikto is a tool that is used for performing a comprehensive attack on our web servers to identify their service configuration, if these servers are outdated or they are using some outdated services, or if they have some dangerous vulnerable files or not. So we can learn more about Nikto on the Kali Linux tools website as well. So let's have a look at it. So if we go to Firefox ESR, you can see we have this tool document regarding this tool Nikto, and if we scroll a little bit down, you can see, you can read about its feature, and it says Nikto is a pluggable web server CGI scanner written in Perl language using RFP's libwhisker to perform fast security or information checks. Now Nikto is a very fast tool. It doesn't take as much as time like Nmap does. It has some features like easily updatable in CSV format. It outputs the report in plain text or HTML, available HTTP version, SSL support, proxy support, and cookie support. And if we scroll a little bit, you can see some options regarding it, and we can see all of these in the terminal as well. So if we go to the terminal and if we just type Nikto here and if we hit enter, you can see we have got all the user manual of this tool. It tells us what options we can use. We are not going to use all these options as it will make the video a little longer. What we're going to use is this dash host. Now after we type Nikto and dash host, we have to tell what our host or URL or our IP address is, or we can use more commands like dash port here. We are going to use all of these, and if you can see in dashboard the port uses is by default 80. Now in the Nmap scan we have found some unusual ports that we didn't notice at first, that was 8080 and 8081. So if we just scroll down and let's scan our OSBW for a web server scan. So for that we just have to type nicto-host and type the IP address of our target, and once we hit enter, it will quickly scan all of that and it won't take much time. And if we wait a little bit for the scan to be done, so let's not wait for it getting completed, I can tell you what we can do right now. So if we can see, it tells us the host name, it tells us the IP address. Now as you can see, what is the server it is using, that is Apache 2.2.14. and if you remember from our previous nmap scan, this is the exact server that is being used. If we look a little bit deeper, it says the anti-click jacking X frame option header is not present. It tells us that X content type option header is not set. It tells us that many of the things are not present or maybe they are missing. It also tells us that Apache version appear to be outdated. It tells us proxy HTML appears to be outdated, mod SSL appears to be outdated. Pretty much everything seems to be outdated. And what does outdated means to us ethical hackers? This means that this machine is completely vulnerable, because whenever a particular thing gets updated, that means the previous version had many vulnerabilities and it got updated and the previous vulnerabilities is not there. But when it seems to be outdated, that means the vulnerability in particular web server still exists and we can exploit them for our particular use. Now if you want to check particularly one port, what you can do now is, once you type this command, just type dash port and configure port 8081, and if we have a look at it, it tells us server jetty, that was for port 8081. It tells us the anti-click jacking X frame header is not present, X content type header is not set, and by this method you can simply get result for only one particular thing and not for the whole thing, to save your time. And if you want to particularly check only one stuff, that's how you can use Nicto. And this is it for this lecture, and here we have completed our website enumeration, and from the next section we are going to dig deeper into website penetration testing, and in the next section I'm going to teach you how you can configure and use Burp Suite, and we are going to use Burp Suite in almost all these lectures. So meet you in the next lecture. Okay, so in this section we are going to use Burp Suite a lot. So first we have to know what Burp Suite is and how we can configure it. And before we start setting up our Burp Suite, let's briefly discuss about it. Perhaps it is a platform that is developed for website penetration testing. It has many tools that makes testing much easier and much faster. And it is also used as a proxy, not as proxy that it is going to hide your IP address or something, but it is something different, that it can interrupt your requests and you can modify them as well. You can change them, you can forward them, you can stop them, and many more things. Basically, Burp Suite is considered as one of the tools for bug bounty hunting for many penetration tester, and in this section we are going to just set it up and check out some basic options that it has and the rest of it, and we will practice it throughout the course. We will set up the proxy for now. So let's start off by configuring it, and for that you just have to set up the proxy for Firefox. We just have to go to the terminal first, and here we have to type Burp Suite and just hit enter. And since Burp Suite is a graphical user interface, it will start, and just click OK here and it will start within few seconds, and we will get a opening menu. And unlike many other tools that we have used before, this has a graphical user interface, so as I told you, it will be much easier to navigate through. And if you get this, you can see we have a Burp Suite Community Edition, and we just have to accept this. And as you can see, Community Edition is for free, and the Professional Edition, that is other edition of Burp Suite, is paid. But for this course we are going to use the free one, and just hit next here, use Burp as default here and start Burp. So now as you can see, the Burp Suite is ready here, and it is saying that Burp Suite is out of date. We just have to ignore it. And as you can see, we have multiple options here. We can start learning about this from this
and we can get a video tour as well, but we are not going to do all of these. What you want to do is just go to the proxy now, and you have to make sure that the intercept is currently off. And if the intercept is currently off, you just have to go to the proxy settings, and in the proxy settings you can see we have something added here, that is this IP address and this port, that is 8080. And if it is not added here, you just have to click on add, and you can add from here manually, like you have to type port 8080. But since we have already added it, we just have to leave it as it is, and we have to go to the Firefox, and you have to go to the settings from these three lines. And let's go to the settings, and in the settings just scroll a little bit, and if you found network settings, go to the network settings, and in the proxy it is configured as use system proxy, but we are going to use manual proxy configuration. And here you have to type the IP address, that was 127.0.0.1, and here you have to configure the port, that was port 8080, and then you have to click this checkbox and it will configure here as well. So once you click OK here, and now if you will try to visit some HTTP website, make sure you go to a HTTP website. Let me do it for you. So if you type HTTP website, so now if you try visiting any website, as I have told you that it is visiting HTTPS website, and make sure you visit a HTTP website, not the HTTPS. And I guess it is stopping us to visit HTTP website as well. But if you will visit a particular HTTP website, it won't stop you. But as you can see, we have HTTPS here, so it will say that software is preventing Firefox from safely connecting to this site. That means there is a certificate that is missing. For that you have to visit a website, that is HTTP burp. And as you can see, if we now go to a HTTP website, we can easily access that. So for that you just have to click see a certificate, and here you can see this certificate is downloaded. And now you have to go to the Firefox settings again, and in the privacy and security just scroll a little bit down, and here as you can see in the certificates, you have to click on view certificates and click on import. And once you click on the import, you can click on this certificate and check both the boxes that it has to trust for both websites and email users, and click on OK. And once you click it now, and now if you try to go to this website, just reload this. Now as you can see, we can easily visit this HTTPS website, and no one is stopping us from visiting this. Also you can see that in the Burp Suite, in the HTTP history, we can see all these websites that we were trying to visit. We are getting these here as well. So that's how you configure your Burp Suite, and we are going to use this a lot, so make sure to configure it. Meet you in the next lecture. Welcome back everyone. We have till now performed that how we can set up our Burp Suite, and now let's see what we can do with it more. The first thing you will notice after the setup, that if you have Burp Suite off, you cannot visit any particular website. Let me show you what I'm saying right now. So here is our Burp Suite, and if we just close it, and yes, I want to exit and close the Firefox as well, and if you can see, there is no Burp Suite running. And now if we go to the Firefox and let's wait till it's get open, and open a new tab. And if we try visiting, for example, vulntech.com, you can see the proxy server is refusing the connection. Now if you want to change the proxy, you can change it from the settings. Like you have to just go to the settings here and just scroll down, go to the network settings, and here you can use your system proxy as well, and you have to just deselect this manual proxy configuration. But for now we are not deselecting it or not changing it, but if you want to do it, you can do it. Now let's again start our Burp Suite, and let's see what happens once we execute our Burp Suite here. So let's click OK here, and let's wait till Burp Suite starts. Okay, so since Burp Suite is ready and running and intercept is off, let's go to Firefox again, and if we try to visit vulntech.com now, let's see if we can visit or not. And as you can see, once our Burp Suite is running, we can visit other websites as well. And if we go to Burp Suite again, and if we go
to see this HTTP history, you can see we have connected with vulntech.com, we sent a GET request, and there is a lot more. Now since this lecture is on the intercept option, so let's see what we can do when the intercept is on. Currently intercept is off, and if we go to the Firefox, as you can see, we can visit any website that we want, for example our vulntech.com again, and here this is how we can visit this website. But what if intercept is off? Basically intercept option is something that it asks us to command it what we want to do with the particular request. So just open it once and it will basically now interrupt everything that we go through. And if you give attention towards this graphical user interface, now it has turned red, and if we turn intercept off, it is turned green. That means we can easily communicate with the web servers or websites. And even if you can read here, if you turn intercept on, messages between Bub's browser and your target servers are held here, and this enables you to analyze, modify these messages before you forward them. Basically we can do anything whatever we want with those requests. So let's intercept these requests and go to the website again, and if we hit enter to the vulntech.com, as you can see the Bub suite is open on our terminal, and here you can see we have got some options here. We can either forward it or we can drop it. It's basically upon us. Also you can see we have got some request here in the text format that it is saying that we are giving a get request here, and we can modify these things as well. We are going to do these in our further lectures, but for now you just have to know that we are intercepting this request. And as you can see in the Firefox, it is just like loading the website, or maybe you can think of it as when your internet gets slow, these things happen. But there is nothing we have to do with the internet. It's all our Bob suite that is doing it for us. So if we type forward again, even if you don't want to click forward many times, you just have to go to this option and click on forward all, and as you can see we don't have any request here, and we have successfully loaded our website. That's how you can intercept your request. For example, if we go to our Bob suite and let's turn off the intercept and enlarge this, let's go to our this thing, and from this IP address of our machine, let's go to DVWA, and in the DVWA now let's go to our Bub suite and turn intercept on. And now if we type here, for example, username password, that is test or admin here, and if we try to log in, we will get a request here, and it is a post request. That means we are trying to do something with this web page, we are trying to log in, and you can see we can now intercept with these requests, and we can also modify these. So for example, let's type pass anything here, and if we clear admin to test here, and now if we type on forward all and forward all these requests at once, there is no request here, and if you go back there, you can see it says login failed. Now let's go back again here, and intercept is once again on, and since the password and username is admin, so let's type test here again and test here again and hit enter, but nothing will happen because the intercept is on. And let's go here, and if we type admin here, and again if we type admin here, and if we hit okay, and if we now forward all the requests, now the intercept is off, and if we go back to this website, you can see we have successfully logged in to this web application, and it says you have logged in as admin. And if we go back here and turn on the intercept, as intercept is on, and just type admin here and type admin here and try to log in, we can't we won't be able to log in because we have intercept on, and we can change values here. Just type test, or you can leave it as it is and click on forward all, and as you can see, logins failed. So basically with the intercept option, everything is in our control and we can do whatever we want. By this option we can perform multiple hacking attempts, multiple penetration testing attempts, and in the further lectures you will know how we can use this option and how this option is very powerful for web penetration tester and bug bounty hunters. So let's meet you in the next lecture. Okay, since we are now aware of intercept option, we have multiple options in our Bob suite. As you can see, we have dashboard, we have target, we have intruder, repeater, collaborator, sequencer, decoder, and many more options. There is interesting option that we can see that here is a target option, and in the target option we can see all those websites that we have tried to visit. For example, if we see, if let's see if the intercept is off, let's turn off the intercept, go to the target, and if we go to this Firefox and let's go to the nmap here, and let's go back to the Bob suite, and now here you can see somewhere we can get nmap. So here is nmap, and in the nmap you can see the request we have here for the nmap, and we have the HTML code for nmap here, we have raw code for HTML, and when we click on render, it will take a little bit of time and it will render the web page of nmap here. So let's wait, and as you can see we have the nmap page rendered here. And even if we try to go to vulnertech.com, let's go to vulnertech.com here and go to the Bob suite once again back, and as you can see we have opened vulnertech.com and here is vulnertech. And if we click on vulnertech, let's wait, here you can see we have got the request for this page, and here you can see the vulnertech page is also got rendered, but it is not looking as good as it is looking here, because here it is looking much more beautiful. So that's how you can see what targets you have visited. Now since we are aware of intercept option, let's turn on intercept here, and now let's go to this website, and if we type here test and click on login here, you can see this request is got intercepted. Now what we can do here is click right and send it to repeater, and once you click to repeater you can see it is highlighted here. So once you click on the repeater, what you can do here is you can literally modify things here. So now let's see what we can do. Not only we can modify some stuff here, that is this, for example we type any password here and just click on the send here, and you can see on the response we have got something, and let's click on send again, send all these requests, and after sending all these requests you can see we have http 302 found. That means we didn't got our page loaded, because to get our page loaded we have to get code 200. So it is saying that we have to follow a redirection. So if we click on follow redirection, we have got a HTML code right here. So if we scroll a little bit down, we have sent the request of our password, and we have sent for 5 times I guess, and all the time it said login failed. And if we go to the render, we can see it is telling login failed for the 5 times. Now if we go to the proxy back here and turn intercept off, and now here click on test and then again test, and now go back here, turn the intercept on. I have closed the Firefox, so let's go back to our website once again, go to dvwa, and let's go back to this website again, and it is loading this website because we didn't logged out. And let's go to intercept, and we have intercept on, and let's now type test and type on login. And now after clicking on login we have intercepted it. So let's click here, send it to repeater, and go to the repeater now. And now let's modify these things here. So let's type admin here, and let's again type admin here. And what else we can modify here, we can change the user agent name. So For example, name it as Samsung S24, and if we send this, it will again ask us for follow redirection, and once we follow the redirection and scroll a little bit down in this web page, you can see it says welcome to dam vulnerability web application. And if we render, or even if we don't render, just go to the website, and if we see this that our login is completely fine, and if we send all these requests and go to the render page, you can see this page is rendered now, and here as well, as you can see, this page is rendered now. So that's how you can check a lot of things regarding this. And go to the proxy again, you have to just forward all this again, just click on the forward, and if you go here, and it says we have successfully logged in here. And if we click on the render button here, it will take a little bit time, and it says we have successfully logged in as admin, because we have clicked 2 times, so it gave us 2 results. And that's how you can use repeater. So repeater is basically nothing but it is similar to intercept option, but with the repeater you can send multiple request at a single time. Meet you in the next lecture with more options of Burp Suite. Welcome back everyone. Till now we have learned a lot about Burp Suite, and in this lecture we are going to look at another options that perhaps it gives us, which is intruder. And now you can consider intruder as something that is made for brute forcing attacks. The definition behind it is that it allows us to change anything in the request forwarded, but it also allows us to change certain parts of request reading stuff from our list. Now it might sound something confusing, but let me show you how we do it. So let's say if the intercept is on and we go to our DBWA, this is right here, and we won't be able to log in here. So let's go to the forward, click on the forward, and here let's log out first here, and yes, forward it. We have to log out, and now since we are logged out, now let's type test here and test here again and hit enter. Now as you can see, we have got this request, and now let's click here and send it to intruder. And once we send this request to the intruder, what we can do here is we can do some brute forcing attack here. Now we can add this $sign here, or add this sign to mark something important here as well, but we are not going to add this or clear this. But if you want to highlight something, you just have to click this, and that's how you can add this thing. And since we have this option, now let me tell you how you can use this option. So let's clear all these things, and let's clear all. Now you can see we have here a sniper attack, and if we click on the arrow, you can see we have 3 more attacks, that is Pataram attack, pitchfork, and cluster bomb. And if you click on this question mark, you can read detailed information about Burp intruder attack, that it says to determine the way in which payload are assigned to payload position, you can specify attack type. Attack type enables you to configure whether the payloads are taken from a single set or multiple set, and basically you can use 20 sets of payload, and payloads are assigned to payload position in turn or simultaneously. You can read about sniper attack. Basically sniper attack places each payload into each payload position in turns. It uses single payload set. In better ramming, you use same payload into all defined payload position. In pitchfork you use different payload sets, and in cluster bomb you basically use multiple different payload sets. So here if you want to read, you can read thoroughly. And let's close this. Now for example, we have to change something here, and let's just type admin and select this and add this. And if we want to now run a brute force attack over this page, what you can do now, you can give a list of payloads here. Either you can load a payload from your system if you have any directory here, or you can paste any list of payloads if you have, or you can just simply type all the words you have in your mind. For example, let's type test here, and if we hit enter, it will be get added. Let's type add, let's type something different, let's type this, let's type password here, and let's type admin as we know what is the correct password, and let's type password 123, and once we hit enter, and now what we can do here is we can start this attack. And once we start this attack, you can see this attack is going on, and one by one each password is getting tested on that website. So now as you can see the status code, it says 302. That means this is not getting redirected somewhere. So what you have to do here is just click here, and you have to see response in the browser, and you just have to copy this, go here, maximize this, go here, type this, hit enter, and once you click on show response here, let's see what we will get. Okay, I guess we have to turn off the intercept first. So go back here, go back to proxy, turn off the intercept, and here you can see we have attempt many login credentials and we have logged in as admin. So let's go back to Burp Suite here, and now let's go back to admin and click on this, click on show response in the browser, copy this, and once you go to the browser and paste this thing, and once you hit enter, you will be logged to this web page. And that's how we can use Burp Suite Intruder, and we have multiple options here, and we are going to use all these options throughout the course. So don't get stressed about all these options. These are very simple options, and that's how you can use Intruder as a Burp Suite brute force attacking agent. So that's it for this lecture. Meet you in the next lecture, in which we are going to perform major attacks. Finally, we are going to exploit our first ever vulnerability in this whole course, that is HTML injection. And in this whole course, we are going to exploit many vulnerabilities, from which HTML injection is one of the first vulnerabilities that we are going to look at. Now, what is HTML injection? So basically, HTML injection is a type of attack that allows the attacker or hacker to inject a malicious code, or you can say malicious HTML code, that can alter the display of our particular website, and the goal is to manipulate how the page is displayed, often to trick people or redirect to them other website or steal their data or any other malicious intent. Why it happens actually? So basically, HTML injection happens when the website is not completely sanitized and it is asking for some user input, and it is also accepting some other codes as well. And that's how HTML injection works when it is not sanitized and not trying to escape any other code. And this lets the attacker inject that code. For example, from server side, the website is using this code to display your name after a welcome message. When attacker puts this code, what this website will output is welcome, hacked, because the hacker injected a malicious HTML code that is now displaying some other information. We will also get to learn how we can protect this. We will see a short source code in upcoming lectures, how we can protect against HTML injection and how we can help others from getting affected by HTML injection. So this is it for the introduction video, and let's get a hand on practically. Till previous lecture, we have learned how we can use HTML injection even if there is no input field. But in this lecture, we are going to use something more, exploit this one, that is cookie injection. So let's click on this, injection, and capture data page. And once we click on this page, as you can see, we don't have anything here regarding input field. But what we can do is, let's go to Burp Suite and turn intercept on, and once again reload this website. And now, as you can see in the request, we can see we have few options that we can modify, that is this swing get joto whatever it is, and the PHP SSID. So if we go here, you can see we can modify this and this one.
Now what we can use it for, previously we use it to display some malicious code or malicious message that we are trying to convey, but this time we are going to redirect it to other website. So let's open Nano here. Okay, let's open another terminal and type nano, and we are going to use this command. With the help of this command we can now redirect this web page to another web page. So let's go to the Bob suite, and here just remove this, also remove, so just erase this and paste the cookie value here. And now if we forward it to this website, and now if we turn intercept on, now it will redirect to google.com. What else we can do is, let's go back, and here go back and turn on intercept. Okay, turn off intercept for now. And if we go to this website once again, and now if we go to the intercept and turn it on, reload it, and now if we clear this up, and in the key value we again paste this command, and after pasting this command we can create a delay as well, because in the content we provided 0, so basically whenever it gets refreshed it will redirect it to the google.com. But if we enter 6-second delay, and now if we forward it and turn off the intercept, and let's wait for 5 seconds till it's get enter, and now it got redirected to google.com. That's how other hackers can use HTML injection for redirecting you to some other websites, to some other malicious website, and that's how we use HTML injection. So this is it for this lecture. I will see you in the next lecture with some other challenges, some other techniques, and some other practicals. So now since we know how we can perform HTML injection attack, let's get our hands on practically on our machine, and make sure that your OS BWS running and the intercept is off. So let's go to this, let's clear all these tabs, and let's type IP address of our website. So since our intercept is off, let's close this tab as well, discard. Okay, now let's head to multi-do, and here let's see what we can get. So in this section, let's go to injections. In the HTML injections, go to the browser info, and let's see what we can get from here. Is intercept off? Yes, it is. Let's wait till it's get loaded here. Now since our page is reloaded, we can see there is nothing we can input. There is no bar where we can give a user input, but there is something we have seen familiar. That is this user agent string that is of our device, where it is telling that Mozilla 5.0 Linux this, and we have already seen some user agent vulnerabilities previously. So if we go to the Burp suite and go to the proxy and turn intercept on, and now if we reload this page, now what we can do here, and now even though we don't have any input field on our web page, we can try modifying this. So if we try injecting some HTML code here, so let's try some h1, and here if we try hacked, and then if we try this h1 and close this, and now if we forward it all, and let's go back to this web page where it is still loading. So let's wait till it gets completed, and let's see if we manage to hack it down or not. So as you can see, we have this message here that says hack. That means we have successfully injected a HTML code here that was malicious, and that's how even if we don't have any input field on the web page, we can use Burp suite and some fields as our HTML injection area. So that's how you can inject a HTML injection even if there is no input field available. And in the next lecture we will see some more options, some more techniques. So see you in the next lecture. Welcome back everyone. In this lecture we are going to know what is a command injection vulnerability. Since we have got to know about HTML injection, and HTML injection is considered as a bug in the field of ethical hacking, but command injection is one of the most serious vulnerabilities out there. Basically what command injection does is, if somehow this vulnerability gets exposed to a malicious hacker, they can run operating system commands on the server. And once they run operating system level commands on the server, they can compromise it and they can get access to it. Also, it can be used as a pivot point to get access to other devices and other computers and systems of the organization within the organization. So it can be a very dangerous vulnerability. So yes, command injection is a very serious vulnerability and we cannot let it go like normal vulnerability. We have know about it, and command injection is something that gives us permission to execute operating system level commands, and it can expose various files, various directories, it can expose password files, credential files, and many more. Perhaps we can even set a reverse shell connection as well. That means if we establish a reverse shell connection, we can access any system, we can run commands on any other system remotely as well. Now let's take an example how command injection looks like and how it works. Like suppose we have a website that streams movies. So in the search bar, you have to just give the name of movie and you will get all the results regarding that movie, right? But what happens if there is a vulnerability of command injection? So once you type a movie name, for example, there is a movie named as Brown Cat. If the command injection vulnerability is present there, what you can do is you will type brown cats semicolon and you will type who am I, and if there is a vulnerability, it will give you result as root, and if you type semicolon ls, it will give you all the directories listed on the server. So basically, if a website is vulnerable to command injection, it won't filter the input and it will directly give the result that you will ask for. So in general, the process looks like this, and how we can do that we will learn in the upcoming lectures. Hello everyone, welcome back to this lecture. And since previous lecture, now we know what is command injection, how it works, and how a hacker can compromise systems and other systems linked to a particular system that has command injection vulnerability. Now we are going to execute command injection. We will learn how command injection really works on a real world basis, and we will gain access to some systems as well. So let's see on a machine. Make sure you have Bob suite running in the behind and intercept is off, because if intercept is on, you won't be able to load any website. So you have to off the intercept option, and if you don't have Bob suite running in the background, you won't be able to access your Firefox, because we have set our Bob suite as a proxy, and you can remove the proxy as well. But since we haven't removed the proxy and we have Bob suite running, because we are going to use Bob suite a lot in this whole course, so we haven't removed it. But if you want, you can remove. So let's get to our Firefox right now. So in the Firefox, just type your IP address of your OSBWA and hit enter, and once we hit enter, you can see we have these links here. Just go to OWASP multi-day 2, and here in this go to OWASP 2023 2013, and in this section we are going to explore A1 injection other section, and here close this tab, and here we are going to use this section, that is command injection, and we are going to in the DNS lookup. Now on this page you can see it is asking who would you like to do a DNS lookup on, enter IP or host name. Now since we know what DNS lookup is and what we can gather from DNS lookup, let's just try DNS lookup here. Type vulntech here and hit enter, and once we hit enter, you can see we have got IP address here and name of vulntech. Now if we go to our terminal and increase the terminal size, and if we type nslookup.vulntech.com here and hit enter, you can see we have got the similar output on our Firefox as well. Now to check if this web page has command injection vulnerabilities or not, we are going to perform some operating system level commands here, and those are, let's see, type vulntech.com and hit a semicolon, and let's enter command who am I, and once we hit enter, type semicolon here and hit enter, and once we hit enter, as we can see, it gave us the output that is www-data. And if we type volunteer here semicolon, and if we type ls here now, and if we hit enter, let's see if we can get the result of whatever files, whatever directories it has on the web server or not. So let's wait for a while, and as you can see here, we have got a list of PHP files here, and if we got some PHP files, that means we can establish a reverse shell PHP connection as well here. Now there are a lot of PHP exploits on the internet, you can search them all, but we have our own here. So let's go to our Kali Linux terminal here, and we can see we have command here that is of a PHP reverse shell exploit. It has our Kali Linux virtual machine's IP address. It tells us on which port we are going to listen for connection back, and it tells we have to run a bash shell, and in this section it tells us to run the command as fast as we want. So let's go back to the website here, and let's type vulntech here, type semicolon, go back to our terminal, and here copy this, and once again go back here, type vulntech, remove this ls and copy paste it, and once we hit enter, let's see what we will get. And we will get nothing actually, because we haven't set the listening port. So let's go back to our terminal here. What you have to type here is nc, that is netcat-lvp, and we have to give the port number, that was 123. As we can see here in the Kali Linux, we are going to listen for connections on 1234 port. So let's go back here, and this is the port we are going to listen to our connection. Once we hit enter, it will say that listening on this port, and once we go back to the website, let's type this, let's copy paste this here, and once we hit enter, make sure you will copy all of these semicolons and inverted commas carefully, and if you won't, then it will not work. So if we hit enter here, let's see if we can get a connection back or not. So as you can see in this tab, it is loading, but it is not giving any output back. Let's go to our terminal here, and now we can see it is saying listening on this port, and as we typed ls here, you can see we have established a connection, and we can see all the PHP files here. We can execute these files as well. We can type any command whatever we want. If we type who am I, you can see it gave the output www-data. If we type pwd, it tells us on which present working directory we are working on, that is osbw multi-git. And if we type ifconfig, and if we type cd test, and if we type pwd now, it will tell us that we are in the test directory. That means we can move in the directories as well, we can change directories as well, and we can do whatever we want. Now since we know about this vulnerability, that was reverse shell connection vulnerability using command injection, let's move to our next vulnerability that is very crucial, and it can be left behind due to some vibe coders or some careless web developers as well. So let's go to our Kali Linux and get back to our OSBW website, where we have all those vulnerable applications link, and let's go to dvwa, and in the dvwa we have a crucial vulnerability regarding command injection, and those vulnerabilities only occurs when careless web developers don't pay attention to web security or security of a website. So let's wait till it's get loaded, and we will also see how we can eradicate some problems like these. Okay, also make sure that this connection is exited here, because if it's continuously listening to reverse connection, it won't work on other websites. So once we exited that, let's go to dvwa, and here the password was admin, as you can remember from our previous lectures. So let's just type in and enter. So save to not now, and here as you can see, security level is low, and we are going to use this security level from low to medium, because the highest safety level isn't vulnerable to command injection. Now let's go to command execution here, and here you can see we have an option to enter our IP address here to ping a website. Now as you remember from our previous lectures, so if we type here ping vulntech.com and if we wait for a second and let's cancel this. As you can see, our machine was interacting with our website, that is vulntech.com, and it sends some ICMP packets. Some packets get transmitted and also received. Now this thing will be as similar as to this website. So if we type vulntech.com here and submit it, let's wait for the results, and as you can see, there were 3 ICMP packets got sent to this website. Right, now what this website is doing, let me show you on the terminal here. So it is using this website, but also it is using this count as well. So if we type this, as you can see, it sent only 3 ICMP packets as well, and that's what this website is doing. Now what we have to do here is we have to perform a command execution attack. So how we can do it, let's type vulntech.com here this time and use semicolon and type ls, and if we hit enter, let's see what the results we will get. So as you can see, it did perform the ICMP packet transmission, that is this, but it also gave us this result, that is help index.php and source. That means it listed all the directories present in the server of this website. What we can do more is, let's type again this command and type and here and type ls. So if we hit enter, let's see what the result we will get, and this is the again same result as we have got before. Now let's try this on a terminal as well. So if we type this command and hit semicolon, type ls, so it gave us the same result as we have got on the website. It pinged the website 3 times and it gave us the list of directories. And if we type the command with and what we have used on the website and hit enter, it gives us again the same result. So that's how this command execution works on this website. But what will happen if we will level up the security? So let's go to DBWA security here, select medium, submit here, and now as you can see, security level is set to medium. Now let's go again to command execution, and if we type vulntech here and let's go to this command again, and if we submit, we again got the same results. I don't know why. Okay, so it says security level is still to the medium. Let's go to here again, click on the submit, go to command execution, reload once again, reload this. Now since it's on medium security level, let's try that command again, and if we hit enter now and click submit, we got no results. Now let's try another command, that is this one which we have used, and if we submit, again we got no results. And if we just type simply the website name and hit enter, let's see if we can get some results or not. So yeah, the ping command is working, but we cannot work with these commands or these symbols. So let's see the source code. So if we see the source code, let's enlarge this. So even if we don't know PHP, as this website is written in PHP, as you can see PHP ID is disabled, we can still understand what the code means. So as you can see, our target request is IP address, and if we scroll a little bit down, you can see it is substituted this symbol and this symbol. That means we cannot use and semicolon, but let's see what else we can do. So if we type this command again and remove this extra and hit enter, let's see if we can get some result or not. And as you can see, we have got help index.php source. We got the result for ls command here, and also we got the result for ping command as well. That's how we can bypass filter. Now why the result for ls command we got before, not after this, is because when we use the single and symbol, That means we are using two commands simultaneously. That means whatever the command gives us result faster, we will get the result or the output for it first. That's why we got the list of directories here. And if we type vulntech, this command, and who am I, let's see if we can get more result or not. Yes, we got www/data. That means it is telling us who am I, and it gave us results by this method. That's how we bypass filter in command execution. Broken authentication. By just its name, we can assume that what kind of vulnerability it is. And this vulnerability is one of the most common vulnerabilities in past few years. Now, broken authentication is tied up with these sessions. Now let's define what is session. Session is something that is a network transaction or network request associated with the user interacting on a web page, and it is for a certain period of time. That is what identifies a user on a web page. Now don't confuse yourself with session and authentication, even though they are quite similar, and session do interact and do change even if a user is authenticated or not. Okay, but regarding broken authentication, what kind of attack? We have two kinds of attack. Attack 1, in which the user is at fault, and attack 2 is something the developer of the website is at fault. Now how the user is at fault? See, we are always tend to create passwords that are meaningful instead of creating strong passwords that contains a lot of symbols, contains lowercase, uppercase, and many meaningless things. But as a human, we always tend to create a meaningful password. It may contain your pet's name, it may contain your nickname, or whatever. That's where we can use brute force attacks, and we can use weak credential directories or a password list to brute force into the attack. Now, how a developer is at fault. These web developers are responsible for these session management and how the website is going to process different session and what parameter is going to use. Sessions are considered as important as user credentials. Hijack session ID is as strong as a stolen login credential, and that is the tag that we will mostly be doing in the session hijacking or session stealing. There are many approaches as to how can we do that, and one of them is session fixation. And the main idea behind this attack is that attacker predetermines the session ID that victim will use. For example, an attacker can send the victim a link which contains a predetermined ID, and the link might require victim to log in after they visit the website. The attacker can then use the session ID to impersonate the victim after the victim logs in, and this is a possibility of weakness in the encryption or weak cookie value. Can be the website that transmits the password in plain text or in a weak encryption that can easily be reversed. This is also a point of attack for hackers. Credentials should have the best encryption possible, since they are the main thing keeping someone to have an unauthorized access to another person's account. Same goes with the cookie value. They have to be random and unpredictable. Now, the different example of broken authentication text we are going to see in this section, while brute force attacks and similar will do much more in the next section. So get ready and meet you in the next lecture. Hello everyone, welcome back to another lecture. In this lecture we are going to use our OS multi-day 2 for our broken authentication attack via manipulating cookie values. So let's get on your machine and hit enter to OS multi-day 2. Here we are going to this page, and from here to broken authentication and session management, and from here we are going to authentication bypass and navigate to via cookies. And once we navigate to all these pages, you can read here, it says privilege escalation, cookies. Some sites keep authentication or authentication token in the user agent, that is browser phone tablets. This gives us the user accesses large amount of control over these tokens. For privilege escalation via cookies, after cookie value and monitor effects, also register for 2 or more accounts, log in into both of them, and note any difference between the respective cookies. Here you can see multiple types of attacks that we can perform, that is SQL injection, brute force attack, secret administration, But for that, first we have to create account here, as it is already spoken here. So let's go to login/register, and once we click on the login/register, we don't have any previous accounts here, so we have to register here. And once we click on the register, we will name ourselves as Vern, and then we will create a password here, that is test123. And once we confirm the password again here, that is test123, and once we create the account, not to save the password, you can see our account is created here. And let's go to the home page now. And once we go to the home page, let's navigate to our authentication bypass here. And now if we go to the login, and here we will type vuln and then hit the password, that was test123. And once we log in here, you can see we have logged in as username vuln. Now here what we want to do is we want to bypass a cookie value to get the access of admin account. So what we can do here is go to our Bob suite, turn on the intercept on, and once we click a refresh button, you can see, let me zoom in here, you can see we have cookie values here. We have our username, that is one, we have our user ID, we have PHP session ID, and we have many more. But how we can manipulate this? So let's manipulate this username, that is one. We will type admin here, because there must be an admin account here with the username of admin, and we will forward this request. So it was forwarded, but we are not logged in as admin user here. Now let's refresh this again, and let's manipulate the user ID here. So if we clear out this 25 user ID and hit user ID 1, and now if we forward it, we got the access as root admin, and it says got root ? So that means we are into admin account now, and that's how you can bypass the authentication via cookies. Now let's go to some other accounts as well. So here let's remove this 5 from 25, and if we click on forward, let's see if we can get to other account as well. So we have login as Adrian in this page. So that's how you can use cookie values as bypassing some broken authentication. Meet you in the next lecture. Okay, now let's take another look at another example of broken authentication attack, and in this video we are going to look at forgot password section. So now, as an example, let's log in to our web page again. With the guest and guest password, we can log in as basic and other admin credentials as well, as you all know. Now let's read through the task. Web application frequently provided their user. Now let's read through the task first. Web application frequently provide their user the ability to retrieve a forgotten password. Unfortunately, many web applications fail to implement the mechanism properly. The information required to verify the identity of a user is often very simplistic. General goals is user can retrieve their password if they can answer a secret question properly. There is no lockout mechanism on this forgot password page. Username is webgoat and your favorite color is red. The goal is to retrieve the password of another user. Okay, that is our first vulnerability, and every time a page should block an account or an IP address once they type the second question incorrectly for 3 or 5 times, and also once they type the password incorrectly for multiple times, then the page should lock you out and block you for certain period of the time. And that is a good practice against a brute force attack, and that we are going to take a look at it next in the next section. But for now, let's just solve this challenge. So webgoat password recovery, please input your password username, COS admin if you don't have an account requires field. Now we already know a couple of usernames, but for this video we are going to brute force the username. We will use a list of common username.
in order to see whether this application has username like that. So how we are going to do that? Well, it's rather simple. Let's type anything right here. For example, let's type test and we are going to intercept our request. So once we turn on the intercept, we are going to get this request and we are sending this to intruder. And once we go to the intruder, let's select this and add this symbol. And once we type to load a word list, we are going to get this pathway. First we are going to go to slash directory, then find the user directory, then share directory, word list, and then metasploit. And in the metasploit, I'm going to use this http default users.txt. and once you upload this file, you can see there are multiple usernames. And let's start the attack. And once you will start the attack, you will click OK and you will get this kind of window. And let's wait till this attack gets completed. So it is finished, as you can see here. Now the status code for everything is 200. So now how will we recognize what password is correct? So as you can see, almost every length is similar, but here you can see this length for admin is little different. That means this can be the username. So let's right click on it and request it in the browser in the original session. Copy it, go to the browser and go to the proxy, turn off the intercept, and now enter. And as you can see, the password was correct. And now we are getting a pop-up for secret question. And since the question is what is your favorite color, and this question is pretty weak considering it is a security password for login credentials. So now, since there are very few colors in the color spectrum, let's type red here and go to the Burp Suite again and turn on the intercept and submit it right here. And now send it to intruder once again. Go to the intruder, select this, add the symbol. And now here what we are going to do, we are going to type manually few color names as some common colors are there are very few common colors. So let's type red here, type enter, type green, type blue, pink, yellow, purple, and let's start the attack. Click on OK. So we have got again the status code for everything, for every password that we have entered. And as you can see, almost every password is similar, but this green password is little different. So let's click on this and request it in the browser in the current session. Copy it, go to the new tab, turn off the intercept here, go to the proxy, turn off intercept, go to the browser, and once you paste that here, you can see it is saying, congratulations, you have successfully completed this lesson. WebGoat password recovery. For the security reasons, please change your password immediately. That means we have successfully logged into our account. So we successfully guessed the username and password as well, the secret question for this account. So what exactly was a vulnerability here? Well, there are two things wrong with this. First thing, that it doesn't block after certain incorrect request, and the second thing is that the second question is rather easy and we guessed it in 2 seconds. Now we can finish this challenge and we have username and password, that is admin and green, and here we are on the admin account. So that was easy, and this is it for this lecture. Meet you in the next lecture. Okay, so now last task for us is session fixation that we have already talked about in our introduction video. Now we have a good example of inside it in our web application. To navigate to it, make sure you go to session management flaws, and under here you want to click on session fixation, and here is our challenge. So let's see what we have got. Stage 1, you are hacker Joe and you want to steal the session from Jane. Send a prepared mail to the victim which looks like an official email from the bank. Template message is prepared below. You will need to add a session ID in the link inside the email and alter the link, include SID. You are hacker Joe, mail to this person, that is Jane Plain, and mail from admin WebGoat Financial, and it is acting as a banking email. So okay, we have already talked briefly about session fixation. It's simply as pretending a session ID for someone, then that someone could expand our link with a predetermined session ID. They log into their account, we can access the account because we do know their session ID, and this is an example how we can do it. let's see what we need to do. So here is an email. In this email we have this sentence right here: please use the following link to verify your account data, and here we have the link as well, which is a statement href equals this link. And the first thing I have noticed here that this webgoat is written incorrectly. We have to capitalize this W and this G of webgoat as written in this URL. And now what we have to alter is, as you can see here, we have to copy this symbol and let's paste it right here. Write SID equals 555 and you have to send a mail to Jane. Now stage 1 is completed. Stage 2 says now you are the victim Jane who received the email below. If you point on the link with your mouse, you will see that there is a SID included. Click on the link to see what happens. You are victim Jane. You completed stage 1. Mail from this person: dear Miss Plain, during the last week we had a few problems with our database. We have received your complaints regarding incorrect account details. Once we click on that link, we have completed stage 2 and now we are on the stage 3. The bank has asked you to verify your data. Log in to see if your details are correct. Your username is Jane and your password is Tarzan. Since we know what our username and password is, so let's type it right here, and once we hit login, don't save the password, and here you can see stage 4. It is time to steal the session. Now use the following link to reach Goat Hill Financial. You are Hacker Joe. So since we have completed stage 3, let's go to stage 4, and once we click on this, we got the same login screen. But now since a hacker, as we are acting as a hacker, we don't know the password and username of this account. What we can do is we can use that session ID we have used before, and as you can see in the link, it says SID is not a valid session ID. So let's go to the Bubsy, turn on the intercept, refresh this page, and you can see here the SID is no valid session. So let's manipulate this and enter the session ID we have altered. So if we forward this request and go to this account, and as we can see, we have successfully logged in to Jane Plain's account. We can see credit card type, we can see credit card number, and this is how, and we have successfully logged in into this account. And that is the end of this challenge. As it says, congratulations, you have completed this lesson. Okay, so now we have covered some basic attacks over broken authentication. Now in the next section we are going to continue brute force attack. So meet you in the next section. Welcome back everyone. This is the time to perform brute force attack. We are going to cover a couple of example of brute force attack, whether with Bubsuite or some other tools, and nonetheless the principle behind them is always the same. We want to use list of bunch of username and passwords to try to get the credential of a certain account. So it doesn't always work. Matter of fact, it usually won't work unless the target has common set of name and common set of weak password. First example that we are going to cover is going to be with Bubsuite intruder, and we only saw a couple of examples using intruder, but right now we are going to take a look at different approach to this attack, and we are going to completely explore that part. So first what we want to do is we want to navigate to application in our OS BWA. So in the web page, as you can see, we have multiple options. So we are going with the OS bricks here, and once we go here, you can see we have login pages here. So once we click on the login page, you can see we have about 6 login pages, and all of them are equally similar. So we are going with the first one here, and we have to type username and password here. Now since we don't know the username of this account and password of this account, what we are going to do, we are going to intercept it. So let's go to Bubsuite first, and let's close these tabs that are running in the background. So now turn on the intercept, and what we are going to do is we are going to reload. As we can see, we got a cookie value here, but since cookie value is not useful for us, what we are going to do is forward this message, and we are going to type username, that is test, and we are going to type password test again. And if we submit here, you can see we got another field, that is username, test, and password. Now what we have to do is we have to send this to intruder to do brute force attacks. And if you remember how we do brute force attack by selecting a list of passwords, you know what I am going to do. But since previous lectures we only changed either only username or password, but in this
part we are going to brute force username and password simultaneously. So add this symbol to username and add this symbol to password. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use the cluster bomb attack that allocates a payload set to each intruder. Iterates through all possible combination of each set, and we have already discussed about intruder and cluster bomb attack in our previous lectures. So if you have missed it, you can check that out as well. So select this, and what you're going to do is you just have to go to first sample list, and here on the load select HTTP default user text and change the payload set to. Here you have to select HTTP default fast text. Now as you can see here, in the second list we have a lot of passwords, and in the first list we have a lot of usernames as well. Now payload count is 19 and total request count, that means total combination will be formed, that means the total number of combination that will form is 266. So let's start the attack. Click on OK. Now wait for a minute, and as you can see in this attack almost every length is similar, because we cannot judge a correct username password with the status code but with the length, and you can see here every length is almost similar. So just stop this attack right here. What we can do here, so since we got the length similar for everything, what we are going to do is we are navigating to the settings, and in the settings if you will scroll a little bit down, you can see here we have grep match. Now what we will do here is that we will flag responses, and we will go to this page, and first of all go to the proxy, forward this request, and as you can see we got wrong username or password flag here. So let's go to Bub Suite once again, go to intruder, and now copy paste this and simply add this. Now if we will start the attack, it will flag the, so now what it will do is it will flag if the password is wrong, if the username and password is wrong or not. So if we scroll little bit to right, you can see we have this one right here, and it is saying, and it is indicating only one field is empty. And if we go to this, if we select this field, as you can see it says admin and admins. So the username is admin and the password is admin. So if we scroll back and end this attack, now we know what is the username and password. So let's go to this. So let's turn off the intercept now and type admin and admin here, and if we hit submit and not to save the password, here you can see we have successfully logged in to this account. So that's how you use cluster bomb as a brute force attack. In the next lecture, we will explore some more tools. So since we are done with the intruder and cluster bomb attack, now we are going to use a very simple tool, that is Hydra. That is very easy and very easy to use, but the syntax is little hard. So you would think that it's pretty hard, but it is a very easy tool. So let's get a hand on to this BWAP, and once we click on the BWAP, you can see we have got a login screen, and that is what we need for a brute force attack. And as you can see, we can enter our credentials here, that is B and bug, but not in all the cases we will get the username and password, as we are hacking a particular website. So what we are going to do is we are going to use a tool named as Hydra for a brute force attack. So let's go to our terminal first, and what we are going to type here is Hydra, and once we type Hydra, you can see it gave us a long manual for it, and in beginning you can think that it's a very small manual and it is a small tool, but in reality it is a little complicated tool because of its syntax. And now let me show you what I'm talking about. So if we type clear here and we will type Hydra, now what we are going to type here is we have to type IP address of our target, that is 192.168.29.124, and now we have to specify what kind of attack we are going to perform, if it is a get attack or it's a post request attack. So now we have to look into the source code of this page. So if we click here, okay, so it says view page source, and if we click here, you can see we have got the source here. So if we scroll a little bit down, we have to find what kind of request it is making. So as you can see, it is making a post request. So what we have to type here is just go to the terminal and type http:/form/post. Now what we have to specify is the path, that is path of the website, that is this path. So just copy it here and go to terminal, and inside inverted commas paste this right away. And next thing to specify is our login field and our password field. So for the login field, let's go to the source page again and let's see and what we are using as input in the login field. So in the login we are using login, and in the password we are using password. So let's go to terminal back again, and here type equals to, type upper arrow, and here type user. So after we specify this login equals to user, that means what we are going to do here is when we will use a password list, all the password that contains username, it will replace it with user. Now what we have to do is we have to separate this here, and we have to type password here, then specify here with upper pass. And now here again separate this, and we have to find the button that the Hydra tool will use to submit our username password by itself. So if we give a thorough look, we can see the button is here and its name is form. So what we are going to do here, its name is form and the value is submit. So what we are going to do is here is go to the terminal and type form equals to, without upper arrow we have to type submit here, and with semicolon we have to type the message here that we will get after a wrong password. So let's go back to the website and just type anything here and click on the login button and copy this. And once you copy this string, go to the terminal and paste this string right here. Now what you have to do here is you have to specify a word list for your password and username. So let's open another terminal here and type nano user.txt, hit enter and type admin123 admin09b as it was the username, and let's now create a password file. So just type nano pass.txt, hit enter, type admin, type test, type jjk, type bug. Now if we go to our terminal back again, let's go to our terminal and here type -l, and in the L section we have to specify our username file, and then type -p where we have to specify the pass file, that is this. Now what we have done here is we have first typed the name of our tool, then the IP address of target, then what type of brute force attack we are going to perform, the path of the target page, login field, password field, form submit button and the string, and then our pass file, user and pass file. So once you will hit enter, it will take less than a second and it will tell us the login credential of our target, that is B and the bug. And that's how you use Hydra tool. Now since we have already done pretty much with the Hydra tool with this website, now what we are going to look into is DVWA website. So let's go here and click on DVWA website, and since we know what is the username password for this website, that is admin and admin, but what we are going to learn in this lecture is how we can brute force this using Hydra, and to tell you how this actually works. So what we are going to do is just type test here, click on the login button and click on the not now, go to view source page and find the form section where we can know what kind of attack we are going to use. So as you can see, again this page is using post method. So let's go to our terminal and first let's see for the login input field it is using username as the name, and for the password login input field it is using password, and this is the path for our target. So let's go to our back again, and what we are going to type here is as similar as our previous command, but we have to change a few things. So let's clear this and type username here, and since the password was password, and we have to and just change this phrase that says login failed when we fail to perform a login. So type login failed, just go back to the website and check it again. So yeah, it says login failed with a small f. So go back here, type small f. Now we have to change the path. So let's go to the website, and this is the path, that is /dvwa login.php. So go to the terminal back again and just type dvwa here. Now since we had username and password, admin and admin both in our username and password, so now what we have to do here is just hit enter, and once we hit enter, wait for a second, and as you can see, we have found the login, that is admin, username that is admin, and password that is admin. So that's how Hydra works. Welcome back everyone. In this section we are going to look at a vulnerability that is one of the OS top 10 vulnerability, that is known as broken access control. And before we dive into broken access control, let's define what is access control. So access control is a mechanism developed by web developers in the website that allows a particular user to access only a particular file or particular resources allocated to them. There are three kind of access controls. We will talk about it later, but we have three types of access controls. First is vertical access control, second is horizontal, and third is context based access control. Now what happens in vertical access control? It prevents regular user from accessing the admin's resources or admin panel, as you can say. Now horizontal access control prevents a normal user to access other users' crucial details, whether it's their data or their password or anything. Now context based access control is something that depends on session ID and time, and that can actually act as session hijacking as well. Now what happens when broken access control occurs? Now when broken access control occurs, what a particular user can do is they can modify the URL or modify the request and access the resources or access the files that they shouldn't do. Now let's look at an example. For example, you are on a website https://vulnsite.com and you are seeing /user, but you modify it and change it to /admin, and now even though you are not admin, but the role validation is broken and now you can access the admin panel as well. This was the vertical escalation. Now look at horizontal escalation. That is, for example, your profile ID is showing ID equals to 103, and now you change the URL to 104, and now you can see the profile or resources stored on the other person's ID. Or what you can do, for example, you are seeing user files report.pdf and you change that to admin/etc/password. Now you can see all the password stored on the website. That is known as IDOR. And IDOR vulnerability stands for Insecure Direct Object Reference. And let's take a look at this vulnerability right now. So if we go to our Kali Linux machine and we are on our OS BWA, and make sure your OS virtual machine is running in the background and also your Bob suite. So what we are going to do is we are going to navigate to OS Multiday 2 here, and in the OS Multiday 2 we are going to navigate to IDOR reference, and then we are going to source viewer. Now as you can see, we have multiple PHP files here, but we can only access PHP files present here, but we cannot access those files that are not available here. Also we cannot type any kind of file that we want, but what we can do is we can interrupt this request through our Burp suite. So let's go to Burp suite, let's go to proxy, turn on the intercept, and if we click on the view file, now as we can see we have this request here. And now what we can do is, as you can see this parameter, that is php file equals to upload file.php. Now let's change it to /etc/passwd. And if you forward this request, let's go to website again, and now we can see all the password directories present on this web server that we are not supposed to get. Also what we can do here is, let's go to the Burp suite, turn off the intercept, and we can actually modify this request here as well. So let's clear this and type /etc/passwd, and if we hit enter, again we can see all the password directories that we are not supposed to view. Also what you can do, let's go back here, and this page was named as sourceviewer.php, and even if we go to here and if we go to cookies, and in the cookies we clear this out, and if we type etc/password and hit enter, we can again see all the password directory stored on the web server that we weren't supposed to do. That is IDOR vulnerability, and that is broken access control. We will look on to other examples as well in the next lecture, so let's move on. So in the previous lecture we have took a look at IDOR vulnerability. Let's take a look at another example, and for that let's move on to our Kali Linux virtual machine, and now we are going to bwap here this time, and let's log in here that using that password b and bug. And if we log in here, don't save the password, As you can see, the security level is set to low, and what we are going to do is we are going to hack IDOR vulnerability. So let's look for IDOR vulnerability and scroll a little bit here, and as you can see, we have insecure door order tickets. So let's click on this and click on hack button, and now what you can see here, this is a ticket booking site. And how many tickets would you like to order, it is asking, and 50 euro is the price for per ticket. And if I click on I would like to order one ticket and click on confirm, it will show me the total amount charged by this website or this organization, that is 15 euro. And now if we modify this to 10 tickets, for example, if we want to buy 10 tickets and we confirm the order, as you can see, the total amount for the 10 tickets is 150 euro because of simple maths. Now let's intercept this request. Go to the verb sheet, turn on the intercept, and now if we type 100 tickets and if we confirm this order, now as we can see, we have ordered 100 tickets and after doing a basic maths, what would be the total amount for 100 tickets? That would be 1500 euros. Now what we can do is we can manipulate the price here. For example, this is the parameter, that is ticket underscore price equals to 15. That means the per ticket value is 15 euros. Let's manipulate this to 1 euro per ticket, or even we can do 0.1 euro per ticket. And if we forward this request and go to the website again, as we can see, for 100 movie tickets we are getting only 10 euros charged. And let's manipulate this even more, and if we order 1000 tickets and go to the verb sheet, turn on the intercept and confirm this request, and as you can see, for the 1000 tickets it is charging 15k euros. Now let's see with the verb sheet on. Let's go to the verb sheet, turn on the intercept and confirm this, and let's modify the request here, that is 0.001. Let's see what the price we will get. So if we forward this request, and for the 1000 tickets we are getting charged for only 0.1 euro. So that was interesting because we have set this to low security level. Now let's increase the security level, but first turn off the intercept and set it to the medium. Now book 10 tickets, confirm this order, and now as you can see, 150 euros for 10 tickets. Now go to the verb sheet and we have to turn on the intercept, go to the website again, and let's order 100 tickets this time and confirm this order. We have encountered something interesting. We aren't getting the parameter for ticket price, but it can be a hidden parameter and it is made hidden by the web developers. Now what we can do is we can manually modify the parameter, and it might be defined as ticket underscore price equals to, and then just enter the price whatever we want. And if we turn on the intercept, if we forward this request and go to the website, now as you can see, for the 10 movie tickets we have 10 euros charged. Now this was interesting, we have changed the parameter even though it wasn't available to us. Now let's see what we can do now. Now if we go to the verb sheet and turn off the intercept, and let's set this to higher settings, and now order 100 tickets, and now order 100 tickets here and go to the intercept, and if we turn on the intercept and confirm this, as we can see, we got the similar result as of the medium settings. And if we add a parameter here, because the parameter can be hidden, and that is ticket underscore price equals to 0.1 euro, and what we can do here is, since the settings are set to highest level, we can manipulate the security level that is present here. So if we make it 0, that is lowest level, and if we forward the request, as we can see, for the 100 movie tickets we are getting charged for 10 euros only, even though it was set at the highest level. And here what we have done is we didn't change any parameter, but we manipulated the security settings, and that's how you can manipulate IDOR vulnerability known as broken access control. Welcome back everyone. In this lecture we are going to look into cross-site scripting vulnerability, also known as XSS. Now this vulnerability allows an attacker to inject a piece of malicious code into the website. Usually that malicious code or malicious script is written in JavaScript, and that content is delivered onto the website, either if it is present on the website or either it is stored in the database. database. Now there are few types of cross-site scripting vulnerabilities, but before we dive into what are those types, let's discuss why XSS is dangerous and what it enables. So XSS vulnerability enables an attacker to execute arbitrary scripts in the browser of user who visits a website. Now, why is XSS dangerous? It allows the attacker to steal cookies, session ID, tokens, or user credentials. Also, it performs action on behalf of the user, that is called session hijacking, that we have already discovered in our previous sections, and we know how dangerous it can be. It can deliver malicious viruses and it can be used for phishing. It modifies the website's appearance and behavior. Also, it can redirect the user to other malicious websites as well. Now let's look onto the types of cross-site scripting attack. Now the first we have is reflected XSS. Now in this vulnerability, the malicious script is a part of URL or input, and the server immediately reflects it back in the HTTP response, and it only affects the user who opens a maliciously crafted link. For example, in the URL of some website there is a malicious JavaScript maliciously modified, and it looks like this. So whenever the user will open this website, this script will be reflected onto his page. And on the other hand, stored XSS is just opposite of reflected XSS. Now in the reflected XSS, as I've told you, that server reflects it, but in the stored XSS, the malicious script is permanently stored on the server, example in its database, and it can be stored in some kind of, for example, a comment box, and it gets triggered every time you visit that page. And last but not the least, we have DOM based XSS, and we will directly look into the example of it. But for a quick introduction, I can tell you that DOM based XSS is used to manipulate users. DOM based XSS is executed by manipulating DOM inside a user's browser. Now what is DOM? DOM is actually document object model, and that is what a hacker manipulates in the browser. So without wasting much time, let's get on to the practicals. Now for the examples, we are going to exploit a well-coded website that is especially made for us in that way to exploit that. And in this video, we are going to use DVWA that we have already used a lot in our lectures. So let's log in here with admin and admin username and password, and don't save it. And here we have to navigate to XSS reflected, and here what we can do is, it is asking us what's your name. So let's type our name as hello, and if we submit it, it says hello hello. That means it has some pre-written code that says hello and then your name. Now let's test with some name. Let's type here Purav, and if we submit here, it says hello Purav. So let's see how we can bypass these filters, and for this section we are going to use it. For this video we are going to use it at security level low and the medium, not at highest level, because in the highest level it tells us how actually a highest security level website looks like. So it is not vulnerable, only low and the medium level are vulnerable. So let's type our script here. So how we can type script here, right? These arrows, type script in here. Now type alert here, and in the brackets let's type hack or hacker. Now you have to close the script tag, so type this and now submit it. So once we submit it, as you can see, we are prompted with this screen and it tells us we are hacked. And that's how the script, the JavaScript, or you can say cross-site scripting attack works. So if you click it OK, and it says hello. Now this is how this attack works. Let's enhance its security level. So if we set it to medium, click on submit, and as you can see, security level is set to medium. Let's go back again to XSS reflected. And now if we type that script again, so just copy paste it and just submit it. So it didn't give us any pop-up. It didn't give us any pop-up window, not a single tab, and it gave us simply alert hacked. That means it is filtering out our script tags. Now let's take a look at source code, and if we go to source code, let's enlarge this, and as you can see, it is replacing this script tag with inverted commas and names. That means it is filtering out. So what we can do is, it only filtered our script in the lowercase. So if we can type script in the uppercase, let's try this. We have typed script in the uppercase and now change this one as well. And if we now submit it, again we have got the similar pop-up window that this website is hacked. And if we click on OK, you can see only hello is there. And that's how cross-site scripting attack works, and that's how we can bypass filters. Now if we maximize the security level, set it to highest, view the source code, and you can see it is much more secure than before. And even if we use the previously used script and if we hit enter, you can see it is reflecting our whole script as our name, because it is changed in these parameters that whatever we will type here will only be reflected as our name, and at the highest security level this cross-site scripting attack won't work. So that's it for this lecture, and in the next lecture we are going to take a look at stored accesses, that is mentioned right below accesses reflected. Now since we know how reflected accesses works, it's time we get a hand on to stored accesses. And in the introduction, as I have told you, that stored accesses works where we can store our script, for example a comment box. So here we have our example and we have set this security level to lowest, and let's type here test, and if we type a message here testing 1 2 3, and if we sign the guest book, it will store our comment. Now let's try something else. Let's paste here the script we have used earlier, and if we sign the guest book now, it will give us a pop-up window telling it's hacked. That means now this script is already stored in here. So if we go back to reflected accesses and if we go to stored accesses, let's see what will happen. And just when we have visited that page, it is showing us that it is hacked. That means the stored accesses vulnerability is completely working and it is effective on this page. Now let's try with the enhanced security. Now let's go to DVWS security, set it to medium, submit it, and go back to accesses stored, and it's telling us hacked from our previous script. So click on OK, and let's type test here and paste that script again, and here we will modify it for our testing purpose, and let's enter this. Now it's telling us hacked, not hacked again. And if we click on OK, it gave us only hacked, not hacked again. Let's see what's the matter. So as you can see, these slashes are commenting out our script. Also the script tags are getting filtered as well. So it is giving alert hacked again as the message, not as a code. So let's view the source code, and if we enlarge this, as you can see, we have two codes, one for message input and one for name input. Now as we can see, the message input is heavily secured but not the name input, as in the name input it's only replaced script tags, not other things, but in the message input it is restricting all the HTML special characters. That means we cannot do anything. So even if we type this script here, it won't work. But if we type this script with the capitalized way, like we have done in the previous lecture, like this, if we type script like this, it will work in the name section. But the only problem in the name section is that we have a space problem here. We have space limitations. We cannot type a name or input longer than this limit. So what can we do here is click on the inspect button, and here as you can see, the max length of this input is set to 10. So what can we do here is we have to manipulate this to 100 or even 1000 and hit enter. Now what we can do here is just we can now enter the full script, and let's do it. Let's capitalize it, and if we type everything in the uppercase, and now if we sign the guest book now, let's see what will happen. It says hacked, that is from our previous test. If we click on OK, it is saying that it is hacked again. So click on OK, and if we go back to reflected accesses, and now if we go back to stored accesses, it is telling us it is hacked. and it is telling us it is hacked again. That means that's how using the inspect option we can manipulate the source code or some settings behind the web page, and that's how we can use XSS vulnerability for us. That is it for this lecture. In the next lecture I am going to show you some more examples. Okay, so till now we have covered reflected XSS and stored XSS. It's time to cover some more options. So for this video I am going with multi-day 2. So let's navigate here, and here in the cross-site scripting attack, let's go to the DOM injection, and in the DOM injection let's navigate to password generator. We are going to execute a JavaScript code here that is for our vulnerability, and this page is saying making strong password is important. Click on the button to generate password. Here password is for anonymous. So if we click on the password, every time we click on the password it is generating a new password. Now what can we do here? Can we intercept it and enter a malicious code in our bubset? So let's try. If we go to a bubset, turn on the intercept, and if we click on the generate, nothing happens because nothing is executing here. We are not getting to a new URL page, or there is no request processing here. It is just generating a random code. So if we turn on the intercept, or even if we don't, it doesn't matter. So let's see what we can do here. We have a parameter in the URL section, and as in the introduction I have told you, we can modify the parameters as well. So if we clear this out and write the script we have, and write the script again, so let's type script tag here, type alert, type hacked with the commas, and close the script tag here, and if we hit enter, let's see what we will get. So we didn't get any pop-up here, but what did we get is this error message. So let's look for this error message where it is stored in the source page. So let's go to the selection source, and as we can see, this code is stored here. Now as we can see, the JavaScript that we have used for this vulnerability to hack this already inside our script. So what we have to do, we have to use a programmer logic here, and first we have to close this script tag here and then write the script. So let's copy this and go back to our website, and here what we have to do is first we have to close the script, and now if we hit enter, let's see what we will get, and we have got the pop-up that is this website is completely hacked. And that's how we can manipulate the parameters in the URL if a website is vulnerable to cross-site scripting attack. Now since we have hacked this website, let's see what this code looks like now. So if we go here and view the selection source, now as we can see, this script is already closed here, and we have a new script here that is our JavaScript code or a malicious code that is being used for exploiting cross-site vulnerability. So since we have now covered many versions of vulnerabilities of cross-site scripting attack, we have covered reflected XSS, stored XSS, and DOM based XSS. In this lecture we are going to look into a more sophisticated type of version, and for that we are going to use this BWAP. And now BWAP is something that has too many vulnerabilities to practice with, so you can easily practice anything here, any vulnerability here. So let's just log in here and don't save it, and let's okay, so the password was B and bug. So let's log in here. Now let's look for cross-site scripting attack, and as we can see, we have multiple cross-site scripting attack. We have reflected get, reflected post, reflected JSON, and we have even stored cookies, stored blog, and many more. So you can practice on these after the lecture, but for this lecture what we are going to test is this one. So let's first get a hand on to this reflected get vulnerability and click on the hack here. And what we can do here is we can type test and hello as a first and last name, and if we click on enter, you can say it is saying welcome test hello. That means it is giving the similar output that it has given in the DVWA. Now what we can do here is we can use the script that we have used earlier. So let's go to DVWA, go to our reflected XSS, And let's just simply copy this script without wasting our time. So once we paste this script here and we click on the go, you can say it gave us the pop-up that this page is hacked, and it is giving us again because we have simply executed this command 2 times. So now this is what we have already hacked, and now let's try with the reflected post attack. So if we enter this script again right here, and if we click on the go, it will give us the same output like the previous one. But these are the vulnerabilities that we have already considered and we have already practiced with. Now let's move on to reflected JSON vulnerability. So let's click on the hack, and here we have to search for a movie. So if we type Tenet here and if we click on the search, it says Tenet, sorry, we don't have that movie. So certainly it doesn't have that movie name, but we are not here to look for movies, we are here to perform our cross-site scripting attack. So let's paste that script here again, and if we click on the search, it gave us some kind of error. Now let's see where our script have gone. So if we select this message and go to inspect here and go to this body and in the script right here, so as we can see, our script is right here as script alert hacked script. Now as we can see, it is already running inside a particular script. So let's just click on view selection source as it's very small there. So as you can see, this script is already running inside a script, so there is no use for this script, and we have to close this script tag somewhere here, if you remember from our previous lecture. But what I am observing here, that there is a variable named JSON response string with these values. It has these semicolons, these brackets, these semicolons, these colons, these inverted commas, these semicolons again. So we have to comment it out as well. So if we go here and let's select all of this material, and if we copy it and paste it here and go to our source selection page, copy our script, and if we copy our script, go here, first we have to close the script that is already being run, and if we paste our payload again, and now I will modify it to hacked brutally, and this is our payload, what it look like. It has script tag close, it has alert option, and it has all these brackets that is closing that variable. And now if we click on the search button, it gives us the output that tells us it is hacked brutally. And if we click on OK, and if we now click on the view source page, and if we go here, let's look for that script that we have modified, and this is the script that we have modified. So this script is closed in here, so that means these thing has nothing to do with us, and this is where our script of our payload is being run on. And that's how you hack this vulnerable website with cross-site scripting vulnerability. Welcome back everyone. In this section we are going to learn SQL injection. Now this vulnerability is most serious vulnerability in web application penetration testing, and this is one of the most dangerous vulnerabilities as well. Now what happens in this vulnerability, we use database query as taking an argument in an unfiltered input area, and usually these inputs are something, maybe we could be searching for something, for maybe it's a movie name or it's a username or it can be password. So what happens when we make a request on a particular website? For example, it's a movie streaming website and we search for a movie. Now what will happen is the database will receive an request from the website, and it will be asking for the particular match that we have requested, and if the movie exists on that platform, it will give us the result in the form of that movie. Now what happens when we try to log in into our account? When we log in username and password, the database receives a request from our website with a hash. Now that hash goes into the database, and database matches if the hash is present on the server or not, and if the server have that
that hash, we get our password correct, and then we would be able to log in into our account. Now the process is similar, just what happens when we as an attacker do the same thing. But instead of a normal regular input, we input a SQL query. Now what is this SQL query? So basically, to communicate between website and database, there is something called SQL or SQL is used. That is nothing but a simple programming language that is a communication medium. Now when we enter a SQL query, and if this vulnerability is present, that's when the problem occurs. Then we can modify our SQL query and we can ask the server to dump the entire database of user, and we can get everything we want. Either it's usernames, password, login credentials, or whatever we want to see on the server. Now what actually a SQL query looks like? So for example, here we have select star from records where ID is 2. Now what this simple command means is that server have to show us from that, it gives command to server that select where is ID 2 from our records. Now if there is a ID on number 2, or if there is ID 2, it will give us the result or the username or password regarding that ID number. So that's how this process works, and we will look on to few examples in the practical session. So let's move to practicals. Now for this lecture, we are going to look into a vulnerable website, and we have it in our OWASP BWA. So let's navigate to OWASP multi-day tool as we have always done, and in the injection SQL, and then here in the extract data, and then click on user info SQL. Now what we have to do here is we have to enter our username and password, and since we don't know any username or password, let's try entering this simple comma here, and let's see if this website throws us any error or not, because these commas are usually used in SQL. So if we hit enter, there is nothing we have found. And now let's try giving an input as test/test comma test apostrophe, and if we hit enter, let's see if we can get any error or not. So as we can see, we have got an error and it says failure is always an option. So as we can see, we have a error message here, and if we look closely to the code, we can see this is the query here. This is our SQL query, and it says select from accounts where username is test and password is test. Now what happened here, if we take a closer look, we type test comma and test comma in the password as well. Now what happened here, it has one open apostrophe and two closed apostrophe here, and same here. So that's why it gave us an error, because if you know a little bit programming, you know why this error happened. What we can do here is, since we know that this website has a error, SQL injection vulnerability, and gave us this error, now we can perform some SQL queries. So what we are going to do here is we are going to type test comma or apostrophe 1 apostrophe equals to apostrophe 1, and just simply copy this, or you can type this as well here. And after we type this, I'm going to tell you something interesting. Now you might ask me why we didn't put an apostrophe in the end, because it has one open apostrophe and then one closed apostrophe. Now if you take a closer look, we already have a closing apostrophe here, so we don't need to put this here. And what this command means, basically, either this username have to be test or 1 equals 1. Now 1 is always equals 1, and that's why we have written this here. Now what will happen, it has to give username and passwords. This is the case or this is the case, and what it will do is it will give us the entire database. And if we click on the view account details now and click not save, and as you can see, it gave us username, password, and their signatures as well. It dumped the entire database to us, and we can access to any account from here, login and register page. So if we try to log in this account, that is John, and the password is the password, and it will give us a signature that is do the Dougie. So let's try. So if we go to the login, and here we type John, and in the password we have to type just password, and if we log in here, and as we can see, it is giving us login user John do the Dougie. That's how, if the vulnerability of SQL injection is present on the website, we can extract the whole database. Welcome back everyone. This lecture is going to be a little longer than expected, and if you don't understand a particular thing, you can rewatch it as many as times you want to get a more clear overview, because this can be a little complicated, but I'm making sure if you pay a great attention towards this lecture, it will be a much easier and a better slice for you. So let's take a look at OS BWA in our Kali Linux virtual machine, and if we scroll a little bit, we have to go to DVWA and now log in into this DVWA account with the password admin and admin as we know. And what we are going to do in this lecture is we are going to take a look at SQL injection, and in the SQL injection we are going to try if we can extract database or we can extract username passwords or not. So let's try to give it input, and it is asking us a user ID. So if we give it input 1, let's see what user ID it will provide us. And if we hit enter, it tells us ID first name admin and surname admin. So as we can see on the user ID first, we have first name admin and surname admin, and if we type 2 on the ID 2, we have Gordon Brown, and if we type 3, we have ID hack me, or if we type ID 7, we have nothing here, and if we type ID 5, we have Bob Smith. Now since we are getting IDs, why we are here is we are here, that is we want to extract some data. So let's send it apostrophe as a SQL query, and let's see if it gives us a error or not. And if we submit, as we can see, we have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to MySQL Server version of right syntax to use near at align. So if we go back, as we can see, by simply entering this apostrophe, we got an error, and that error indicates that this website or that this web page has a SQL injection vulnerability. Now, however, this isn't the case with all the websites. Some website won't give you the same results, and that is when blind SQL injection or blind SQL injection vulnerability exists in this column. And we are going to look into further lectures how we can hack a blind SQL injection, where even if we enter a SQL query or this apostrophe, we won't get any error, and how we will know that if a particular website has some error or not. Now as we are entering this apostrophe, let me show you what in the background it is happening. So if we type, so what would be happening in the background is when we input something, the website will be giving a SQL query to the server that is something like select name, surname from records where ID is, for example, 2 and in the apostrophe. Now what is happening is when we are typing a apostrophe, this apostrophe is going between these two apostrophes, and it is causing the error because it has one open apostrophe and two closed ones. And if we go here on the website and we try to enter a SQL query that is 2 comma or apostrophe 1 apostrophe equals apostrophe 1, and if we submit here, it gave us few results. It gave us about 5 IDs. Now what happened here, we said either give us ID 2 or 1 equals to 1, and as we all know 1 is always equals to 1, gave us the entire database, and this is something what happened in our previous lecture as well. Now how this command works, so if we type this here and if we are going to take this command and place it between these apostrophes, now as we can see the open apostrophe is closed after the 2, and then we already have a extra apostrophe in our command from the server, and that is closing after the 1. And that's how this command works. Now since we have extracted our database, let me check how many columns do they have. So if we enter this command again and let's clear this out, and if we type order by 1 / and this slash is to comment out rest of the things, and if we submit, it tells us that it has 1 column. And if we again type this command, and we are going to type this command till we get no results. So if we type 2 here and if we can check if it has 2 columns or not, and if we submit, tells us that it has 2 columns. And if we again go with this command, and if we type 3 and if we submit here, it gave us unknown column 3 in order clause. That means this web server has only 2 columns of results. Now if you're getting confused or if you're getting some hindrance in your brain, don't worry, you will get everything clear as this lecture goes on. So let's clear this all. Now what we are going to do is we will enter a command that will confirm if we were right or not. So if we type this command here, that is 2 comma union select 1 or 2, that means it has to give output if these 2 columns are present or not. And if we submit here, it gave us 2 results. That means it has 1 column and it has 2 columns, and this 1 and 2 is present here, that is 1 and 2. That means it has 2 columns. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to look for the database, and I am assuming that this website has some parameter named as database or user. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if we type this command and remove this, and I type database here with these brackets and then users here with these brackets, that is what I mean. So let's see if this website has a database parameter or user parameter or not. So if we submit this, and it gave us that it has a database named as dvwa @localhost. That means the database present on this website has this name, and this name is very useful for us because that's the database we are going to extract the information from. Now we are going to type a command here that looks like this: 2 comma union select schema underscore name comma 2 from information underscore schema dot schemata and / apostrophe closed. Now what this information dot schemata means is it holds the metadata of all the databases, and this will reveal all the schema or database names. Example, we have seen DVWA, or it can be storing SQL or performance under schema, etc., and many more data. And if you are not understanding these commands, you need not to worry about. You will understand this, and if anyone knows a little bit of SQL, he might have an understanding what we are talking about. So let's just paste this command here, and if we submit this command, let's see what we will get. So as we can see, we have got the result from that command, that is this union select schema information underscore schema dot schemata, and we have got DVWA as well, and this is the database that we have got earlier too. And since we are inside this website of DVWA, we are going to look deeper into this database. So let's take a look at another command that we are going to type, and the command we are going to type is 2 union 2 apostrophe union select table name 2 from information underscore schema dot tables, where table schema equals to DVWA. Now what this command means is we are going to look for all the tables present inside the database, that is DVWA. So let's just paste this command in our DVWA, and if we click on the submit, and as we can see, we have got 3 tables here. First is Gordon Brown, second is guest book, and third is users. Now this users table is something that caught my eyes, and even for you as well, because in this table it can have user data. We are not going to look for guest book, but we are instead going for this users one, and we are going to look deeper into that. So for that, we are going to use another command, that is 2 union select column name column type from information underscore schema dot columns, where table underscore schema equals to DVWA and table name equals user. Now we are going to look for everything under this table name, and if we enter this command here, let's see what the result we will get. So as we can see, after entering that command, we have got many results, including first name and their surname from the database DVWA of users. Now since we have got all these results, what we are going to do is we have users here, we have passwords here, so that means we can get all the username and password here as well. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to use a concatenation command in SQL to get results. because as we can see we have only two columns for the results, and we want their first name and surnames as well, and their password as well. So what we are going to do is we are going to concatenate their user ID, first name and last name into one column, and their user password to another column. For that we are going to use this command, that is 2 apostrophe union select concat user ID comma colon comma first name underscore brackets close apostrophe colon apostrophe comma last name brackets close comma concat user and password from dvwa users slash slash. And make sure you don't do any kind of mistakes in these commands, because then you will not get any results. So let's just copy paste this command here, and if we hit submit, let's see if we can get the results or not. So as you can see, we have got the user ID 1, we have got admin, and we have got admin as the username and first name and the surname. Then we have got the user's password as well. Here we have got for the admin, we have got for the Gordon Brown, we have got for the Hack Me as well. And that is how you are going to extract all the information from the database using SQL injection. Now this lecture can be a little complicated for you to understand, but if you take a closer look at the commands and try to understand deeply what this command, even if you don't understand SQL a little bit, you will have a clear understanding even if you don't know anything about it. So if you need to repeat this lecture as many as time possible to clear everything in your mind. So I will meet you in the next lecture. Now since we know how we can extract the whole database from a website using SQL injection as a vulnerability, now what we are going to do in this lecture is we are going to maximize the security level to the medium, not to the highest, because at the highest level the website is not vulnerable, and that is how a website look like with the highest security. So we are going to change the DVWA security to low to medium from low, and click on submit and go to SQL injection. And what we are going to do is we are going to enter the same command we have used previously to extract of the user from the database. So if we copy paste that command here, and if we click on the submit, it gave us the error that you have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL server version for the right syntax. Use near apostrophe slash union select concatenate user ID slash comma slash apostrophe first name slash. What these filters are, as I can see, it has filtered out our apostrophes and also I guess our colons as well. So if we go back and we take a look at the source code of this page and enlarge it, so as we all know, we cannot do these things in the real life. We cannot look into the source code of a particular website, but since we are practicing, we can take a look how these filters work. So what they have done in this source code is that they have filtered out our apostrophes and they have filtered out our colons. Now what we have to do is, let's open the WordPad here and paste this command. And what we are going to do here is we are just simply going to remove these apostrophes, and maybe then we will be able to get the output. So now let's try this, as this website has filtered out our colons and apostrophes. And if we paste this command here now, and if we click on the submit, and that worked. So what this website has done was it filtered out our apostrophes and colons. But the only problem with this output is that it has merged everything: the user ID, the first name and the surname, and also it has merged the username and the hash code as well. And now if we select this hash here and go to the Google, and even if we just paste it right on the Google, we can head to any website that we want. For example, this is MD5 hashing. And if we go to this website, let's see what the results we will get. So it is processing this hash, and it tells us the value for this is admin. That means for this user ID, that is admin, the password is also the admin. And if we copy this hash value and go to the Google again, if we paste the value here, we click on the enter, and if we go to MD5 hashing again, and it is processing this hash, and let's see what results it will give. So it gives us ABC123. That means the password for Gordon Brown account, that is this hash, has password of ABC123. That is how you extract the entire database and its password, and that's how you convert a hash into simple text. Hello everyone, welcome back to another lecture. And since we have covered an error-based SQL injection, we are now going to look into a non-error based SQL injection, that is blind SQL injection. Now what that means is, even if there is a SQL injection present on the website, it won't give us any error or any indication that this vulnerability is present, even if it is. So what we are going to do, let's have a look at it. So we are into the DVWA page and we are navigated to SQL injection and under the brackets blind, and what we are going to type here is an apostrophe. And since you remember from the previous lectures, when we enter an apostrophe as an input and we submit it, it gives us error and it tells us that it has vulnerability. And now if we hit enter, it gave us nothing. Now let's try test apostrophe. It gave us no error. And if we just enter tens of apostrophes, yet it didn't give us any output. But if we type 1, it gave us output that it has this ID, and if we type 2, it gives us this ID, and if we type 3, it also gives us this ID. But yet this is not throwing any error even if we give any SQL query. So if we type this command here, that is one apostrophe or this, and if we submit it here, it gave us result, but not because it has this error, maybe because this ID1 exists here. Now what we can do is, we can type another command, that is 1 equals or this command, and if we hit enter, it gave us 5 results. Now this can't be the reason because of this, because if this was the reason, it would have given only one result. We entered this query as well, and even if this query is there and the website doesn't have SQL injection, it shouldn't be acting like this and giving us the output of multiple users. That means there is a vulnerability on this website of SQL injection, and that is blind SQL injection. Now this is where the problem occurs in the blind SQL injection. Rather than error based SQL injection in which we can know if there is vulnerability or not, this blind SQL injection takes much more longer time than that, because we cannot get easily the database name or column name or table name. In this blind SQL injection, we have to guess everything by our own, and that's why this takes a lot more time. And we are not going to guess the column name and table name in this lecture because it will take a lot more time than the previous lecture. So I'm going to tell you how you can guess the database name. So what we can do here is, we can use a simple command here, and for that you are going to use a parameter named as like, it is a SQL parameter, and we are going to use that. So type 1 here and database with brackets and use the parameter like, comma here, and type a and then the percentage sign. Now what it will do is, we are giving it a command that guess the database name if it starts with A, if the first letter is A. So if we submit it, it gives us no result. And if we go back again with the command, and if we try with the B, it gives us no results again. And if we go back with this command again and type D here, and if we submit, it gives us a result. That means there is a database present here starting with D. Now doing it manually will take a lot of time. So what we are going to do is, we're just going to type this command here, and we are going to our burp suite, turn on the intercept, and we are going to submit it. And if you have already guessed it, what we are going to do here, you are pretty genius, because we are going to send this to intruder and run a brute force attack. So this is in our intruder, and what we are going to do here is, as you can see, this is the ID here and we are checking it here. Now we are not going to check every letter manually. What we are going to do here is just increase the size of this request, that is 4, because we remember that the database name was dvwa, and just add this symbol here. And what we are going to do here is we are going to load a list of usernames, and let's go to our Kali Linux, and here as you can see I have a dvwa.txt, and let's select this, and I have made list of these combination including all the letters present in the dvwa database name that contains a lot of combination, and the request count is 256. Now after we upload these kind of files in this, what we are going to do is how we are going to know that what is the password. So let's navigate to the settings, and in the settings scroll a little bit down, and here you can see the graph match. So first clear this out and and click on flag responses and enter here first name colon admin. So if we remember from this, if our command gets right, that is this, it will give us this flag, that is first name colon admin, and it will flag us in our intruder. If you remember from our previous lectures, we have done this before. So now let's start the attack and let's wait for the results. Click on OK, and as you can see, and add this, and let's start the attack. And after we start the attack, as you can see, we have this flag right here, first name colon admin, and let's wait, or you can even scroll down. So let's wait till this attack gets completed, or you can just keep scrolling down. And as we can see, we have noticed that on this particular number request we have this flag 1, that means it has found it, and it says dvwa, and even if when we clicked it, it tells us dvwa, that means this is the password name. And this is how we can guess a correct password for us, or even column name and table name as well. Now guessing all of that would take a much longer time, so I have completed this lecture with the database name only. You can go ahead, guess the other things with the similar process I have used, and all the best. Okay, so let's discover a new vulnerability and let's hack another website, and for that we have to go to our bwap application here, and to get that vulnerability we are going to XML XPath injection here, that is for search. Click on the hack and we will load this web page. Now this web page suggests us that it is a movie streaming page, and it searches movie by genres. So it tells us action genre, and it has horror and science fiction, and if we click on horror and click on search, it gives us Resident Evil and Underworld, and if we select action and search, it gives us Matrix, Resident Evil, Thor, X-Men, Ghost Rider. Now this is what happens when we click on this bar, but there is no input field where we can do anything. Now let's try this with Burp Suite. So if we go to Burp Suite, turn on the intercept, and if we click on search now, we get a request here, and as we can see, we have this is genre parameter, and in which it is saying action. So if we forward this, it gives us this result. And so let's try if we can manipulate this parameters input as our command or not. So if we delete last 3 or last 3 letters, and if we forward the request, let's see this parameter can search with the few letters or not. And if we forward this request, we can see it is again giving us the same result. And let's test this if it has XML injection or not. Now XML injection is kind of really similar to SQL injection. So if we go here and type test and enter apostrophe here, and if we click on forward, we got a error here, and we got this error. Now if this gives an error, I'm assuming that this is using a contains parameter. Now what this contains parameter looks like, let me show you. This is what contains parameters look like. Now what command it might be using under this contains parameter is this one, bracket contains genre $,
journal underscore input closed, and then this. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create our own payload here, and for that first we have to close this part of the code here. So what we are going to type here, first we have to complete these and then type slash star and then this and again slash star, and now let's type our own command here. So if we type contains this '1 comma '1 and remove this bracket, and now you may ask why I didn't included comma and closed these brackets. Now what I have done is this command is closing these from here, and then it opened a new command from here, and these left out will close this. So if we copy this here, let's copy this, go to our Bub suite, turn off the intercept, search for any movie here, and now go to our Bub suite again, turn on the intercept, search again, and now let's remove this action here and paste the comment we have copied. And if we forward this command now, if I select action and clear this out and paste this command here, and if we forward my request here, let's see what we can get. If we go back to the page, and you can see we have the whole database of this website. Is not kind of database we wanted username or password, but this database is holding only the database of the movies. So that's how you can hack this simple XML injection vulnerability. Now since we have covered a search page's vulnerability of XML path, let's move on to another vulnerability, and let's scroll down here and we are going to a login form. And if you click on the hack, we can see we are on the login form, and here we have to enter our login credentials. Now since we don't know any login credentials here, let's type test and test here, and if we log in we get invalid credentials. Now as I have told you, XML path is similar to SQL injection, so let's see if we can get some error if we type these apostrophe and hit enter. So we do get here invalid credentials, but if you look on the upper side, it gives us the warning and it has some error. That means the vulnerability exists here. So as we have tried and tested in our previous lectures, what we are going to do here is we are going to type test, here apostrophe or 1 equals apostrophe 1, and we are going to type these similar things here, and if we hit enter here, we get welcome Neo, your secret is oh why didn't I took the black pill. So that means we are into someone's account that whose name is Neo and his secret is oh why didn't I took the black pill. Now this might be reason the command we have used, that was 1 equals to 1, that could be the reason, and that's why I'm assuming that this Neo account would be ID number 1, and there could be many IDs. So how we can look for more IDs? So let's just type command test comma here or ID equals 2, and if we type the same command here and if we hit enter, we get welcome alias, your secret is there is a cure. That's interesting that we have got into someone else's account as well. And if we try this command with other numbers, let's see if we can get into others account as well or not. And if we hit login, as we can see, welcome Wolverine, your secret is what, a Magneto. That means we can enter other person's account as well, and this is how you can exploit this vulnerability present on any page. Welcome back everyone. Now let's discuss a vulnerability named as XSA, and before we get into how to hack this vulnerability, let's discuss what is it. So it happens once an application takes the user input and XML format and it processes the external entity that are declared inside of it. So let's take a look at the example of this vulnerability on our web application. So let's scroll a little bit down and go to the A7, and in the A7 as you can see it is XML external entity attacks, and if we go here and click on the hacks, you can see we are prompted with a page and it says reset your secret to, and click on any bugs. So nothing happens here even if we click on multiple times. So let's turn on the intercept and click on any bugs here. Let's see what we can get. So as we can see, we are getting a XML format code here
And what we can do here is, I guess we can manipulate these parameters here. So for that, let's send this to the repeater and let's see if we can give it an external entity, and if this code executes our external entity, that means this web page is vulnerable to XML path injection. So if we send this request here, we can see it is telling us B secret has been reset. So let's try to manipulate this and send a external entity here, and for that we are going on our notepad and clear this out, and we are going to type here a payload, and that payload is, we are going to type like this, doc type file and this, and that payload is this. So what we are doing here is we are creating a doc type with the internal entity named as test. If we copy this from here and let's go to this part of code and paste it, what we are going to do is clear this. We are going to clear this out and type here test, and then go here and paste our payload. So once we paste our payload here and we send this to the website, let's see what response we get. So as we can see, we got the response that is test secret has been reset. That means this web page is executing our external entity inside the XML path. So what we are going to do is we are going to send it another payload that will make it drop the password of all the things stored inside this server. So let's go to our notepad again and go here and just copy this command, change to other line, paste this, and what we are going to do here is we are going to type here system and type file here, a colon, 3 slashes, etc/password. Now this payload is complete, so let's copy this payload here, go to this part, cancel it out, paste this, and now what we are going to do is we are going to type an internal entity here. So now let's see if we can get all the desired output from this command, this payload or not. So if we send this, let's see what we can get. So we encountered an error because we missed something out here. So complete this command here now and then send it again, and if we send it, let's see we can get or not. So as we can see, we have got all the directories here, and it also says the password is reset, but it has nothing to do with us because what we wanted to get, we have got it. We have got all the directories that has password stored in it, and that's how you can exploit this vulnerability. You have now officially completed this bug bounty hunting course, from the basics of web application vulnerabilities to mastering the real world exploitation technique and responsibly exploiting them. Through the hours of dedication, you have not only gained the knowledge of bug bounty hunting, you have earned a title. From now onwards, you can officially call yourself a bug bounty hunter. You have earned it. Now you possess skills to discover security flaws in live application, protect some organizations, ethically report bugs of an organization, and contribute to a safer internet for everyone else. Whether you aim to professionally do bug hunting or just aim for fun, for thrill, you are now a complete bug bounty hunter. You have all the skills that a bug bounty hunter needs, and this course has opened the world of cybersecurity for you. Keep hunting, keep hacking, and stay safe. Welcome to the community of hackers.